Jesus.
What's going on?
What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. Because I look enormous sitting here next to you. What's going on? Way more than normal, too. Like,
jeez.
Like jarring. Like I'm looking at it like, oh, these. If I was an alien, and I came down and saw the two of us standing next to each other or sitting on this frame, I would be like, these are the same species of people. One is clearly far more swollen. All right. I actually thought that you would have ended up being the last one in here, and I would have been here by myself for probably 30 minutes.
No. I was ready to go. I was ready to go like 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, it looked that way, and I know Egan was hopped up to do this. And that's a fat person thing to do right there. Is I just reached in my pocket of my sweatshirt and pulled out pieces of the Hershey's Kiss that was just in there that I had forgotten about from earlier. Yeah, that is in fact chocolate shavings in my sweatshirt pocket. That would explain why I look the way I look and you look the way you look.
These are things, as my father says.
Yeah, they are. Boy, are they. Ryan Egan has entered the building. Oh, Egan, I was so very close. I'm not a good salesman. I was so very close to getting one of those today.
What's up?
What
bad salesman.
Yeah, because a friend of mine picked up his this afternoon, the Powder Days from Tonewood, and
Mr. Ryan Horner.
He showed me a picture of it, and I was
I saw you guys were canning that. I think it was on.
I was like, dude, why don't you swing by?
Are we recording already, or are we?
I mean, the record button's hit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, did you introduce us and all, or
no?
Okay, so we're not really recording. Richard will find.
We could be. I think.
Well, I already stopped myself from starting to tell a story because I didn't want to do it yet because no one was here. So,
well,
I guess technically we're not.
I couldn't sell my friend on the idea of driving over here and dropping one of those on me so I could surprise you with it on the podcast. He was like, "No, you're way out of my way." So
when I called you earlier, I was just like when we spoke earlier today. I was leaving the brewery, and I was like, do I take one of these to Jay? And I was like, if I go all the way to Jay's, I got to go all the way to Rob's. And I was like, no, I'm not doing either of those things.
Absolutely not. I would have frowned against I would have advised against that. That is a hot mess on a Thursday after a snowstorm at that hour. You'd still be out there. No,
last night, oh my God, I left Tom's River or that area around 3:30. I didn't get home until 7.
I believe it. Yeah, it was a mess out there. So I'm just gonna start the thing. I suppose here, whatever. He'll be around when he's around. He can grow old waiting for his ass. I've spent a healthy portion of my adult life waiting for his ass. So I'm just gonna go for it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a long overdue edition. I can even remember how to speak of the Fear of a Craft Beer Planet Craft Beer podcast. My name is Jay Rose. I've been anointed the host of this mess, and I am here in my house with my little earbuds in here in my little bar, drinking a beer. Rob Forzik is in the building. I see him pouring a beautiful beer into a Tonewood glass. Ryan Egan is also here, and I see him drinking a Tonewood beer. Richard the Rastafarian, our very own Duke of Lizards himself, is not here. I don't know where he's at, honestly. I have no
Duke of Lizards.
The Duke of Lizards himself. I have no clue where he's at.
From the text thread, didn't it sound like he was down at that radio station working until 7? He was going to join us shortly thereafter.
Could be.
I think he's going to jump on. I think he's going to jump on a computer down there.
That's fine. I can't keep track of
that. Scares me after some of the correspondences me and him had a couple weekends ago, and he was showing me the layout of the computer system that he's dealing with.
Yeah, but generally we like to get together and end the year and And we usually do, jokingly, we call it the holiday extravaganza. So I guess that would be this. And when I sat down, I'm just writing notes about nothing really, of things that we may or may not want to talk about. And the page is pretty blank. I mean, see, I'll show you. We got some video. Page is pretty blank. But at the top, I wrote FOA CBP 12/17/20 holiday extravaganza.
Oh, good job.
I didn't think it was as funny when I said it as it sounded in my head, so it's not as funny. And then I figured we would call it the 2020 Beer in Review. Another terrible one, right? Just bad, just full of bad. This is why we don't do the podcast. It's
I like beer in review.
Well, because a lot of times we don't talk about beer.
We haven't done that a lot lately.
I know, because it just irritates the bejesus out of me. But Egan, you're the king of the dad jokes, and here I am stealing your thunder.
Hey,
my stupid puns.
I'll be your lightning.
Yeah, but Jesus. But yeah, so we usually get together and wrap up the year, whatever it is. And how do you wrap up any of this madness? Who knows? It's the holiday season, and what did you say, Rob? Whoop-de-doo, and hang up your sock.
Yep. Yeah. Don't forget to hang up your sock.
Don't forget to hang up your sock. Whew, I don't even know.
I did hear the classic Christmas carol, "Baby It's Cold Outside," the other day.
I'm not going there this year. I'm not going there this year on the "Baby It's Cold Outside."
I thought about you immediately, Rob Forsk. I was in a liquor store. It was yesterday, and it had to have been a radio, or it was one of those satellite feeds that that they'll get the. But I heard it, and I was like, "Ooh, here it is."
Are we as a society? I think it's funny. You can kind of gauge how bored society is, because how many years ago was that? 2 or 3 we did it. We had that song on in the background, and we were talking about how there was all of this social uproar about that song.
I think it was last year, wasn't it?
Last year?
I thought it was last year. Was it 2 years ago?
No way. It had to have been 2 years ago. But either way, we were.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Our Minister of Information. The world was so upset about that fucking song because nobody had anything else to be upset about. When you actually have things to be upset about, that goofy song becomes null and void. Who gives a shit? It was written in the 40s. But it's funny. It's funny what people choose to get themselves worked up about. And then when there's actual things to get worked up about, it's like stuff like that means zero. Pretty much. But we are all drinking beer here, as far as I can tell. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I knew there was something I was going to say because we're talking about Christmas music. I don't remember if we talked about this last year, but did I tell you guys about the Whamageddon Facebook page? Have I told you about this?
No.
So a buddy of mine, you guys both know, Sam Barbie, invited me a year ago to join the Whamageddon Facebook page. And what it is it's people all over the world playing this game. It's like a game of Survivor, like audio dodgeball, really is what it is. You can't hear the song. What's the Wham song? What's it? Last Christmas it's called, or this Christmas?
Yes.
Whatever it is.
Christmas. I gave you my heart.
Yeah, if you hear that song between the 1st and the 25th of the month, you're out. And
I'm out.
If you're in the car, if you're in a store, and it hits you, you're out. And I've managed to somehow make it to whatever day we are here without hearing the song. 17th of the month, and I have managed not to hear the song, so I'm still. That's
impressive.
It's funny. It's funny because people jump on that Facebook page and they're like, it got me at the grocery store. It's really funny.
I've been playing. I've been rickrolling people at work lately.
Why?
I don't know. What else are we doing?
Why are you ruining people's lives with that?
Oh, that's a great song, actually.
All right, Ryan Egan, that's the end of you.
Okay, well, I'm going to mute myself now and go back to finding out how many years ago it was.
It was up there. He actually did mute himself. He's ridiculous. But we are all. We did all open beers.
What are you drinking, JR?
I've got I actually went out to the store today and purchased a Trogs Brewing Company, the winter variety pack. What's it called? The most wonderful time for a beer, I think they call the variety pack. And there's Blizzard of hops in there, and I thought that was a great way to start off the evening at a 6.4%.
I'm gonna I'm going to see you there.
Yeah.
I'm going to raise you. I'm going to raise you about 2%. I have the Trogs Double Blizzard.
Look at you. And that was not a plan. That did not.
It was not
planned.
I don't know what it is, man, but lately I've been back on this kick of drinking double IPAs. I don't know what it's been, but I've had some really good stuff lately.
Okay.
Had something from a brewery out in Mass, and I found out one of the guys I work with lives like 5 minutes from there. So I'm gonna he's gonna do me a solid and send me some beers from there. But a brewery called Vitamin C. I don't know if you ever heard of them. SEA is the way they spell it. So Vitamin C.
No, I do not remember that.
Had 2 really good double IPAs by them, and then I had 2 really good double IPAs from our boys over there at Tonewood too. That blew me away.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Thank you, Mr. Forsick.
You are welcome.
Kind words.
The one I'm trying to look back at my notes.
Down tempo.
The one I had from Vitamin C was See for Yourself, and then one that was called Sea Mounts. They were both really, really solid.
Right. Cool.
And then the 2 from Tonewood, one was the oh my God, what was it called?
Down tempo and All in Time, possibly.
All in Time was one.
Was fantastic. Yeah,
that was fantastic. And you told me the other day when we were rapping that you guys are rebrewing that.
I said I'd like them to rebrew it. We'll see. I think they are.
I think they are because somebody inside the brewery mentioned it to me as well that was going to get made again.
Yeah, I can't imagine it wouldn't. It's a really good. It was received really, really well.
And then Outer Limits.
Outer Limits.
Oh yeah.
That beer was ridiculous.
Yeah,
Galaxy hops.
Ridiculous. But those are a couple really good double IPAs I've had recently. But I don't know what it is, JR. I've been on this double IPA kick. I think because maybe now I'm getting to the point where like I'm not drinking as much as I used to.
I hear you.
And I'm just chilling. I'm listening to music. I'm doing my thing. And then like I'll have like, 2 or 3 or maybe 4 double IPAs and I'm done. I go to bed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I personally enjoy them this time because it's colder.
That's true too.
When it's the summertime, like I enjoy them in the summertime, but I don't like in the summertime. I'm looking for something refreshing and something I can like just put back and but that doesn't fit the bill in the summer for double IPAs. But now that it's cold, I've been drinking a lot of dark beers, and I've been drinking. I found myself drinking a lot of double IPAs recently.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking right now? I just saw something
just off the canning line today. Powder Days is.
How are you? Your can has no lid. What's going on over there?
I got a tool that I can cut the lid off without making a jagged edge.
Get out of here!
Look at you.
It was
you make your own 360 can?
Yeah. Look at that!
Look at him. He makes his own 360 can.
And there's no like danger of shredding your face.
No, there's one spot where if you make the mistake of putting your lip there, you'll regret it. But you'll learn not to do that. So,
Would you endorse this product, Egan? What is this thing?
We don't sell it. No, I bought it. I got it like Black Friday. It came through Amazon. It was a couple bucks.
No kidding.
It's like a can opener tool that is made specifically for removing the lids of beer cans. I don't even know what it's called. I can look it up.
Yeah, whatever. That's pretty neat. I wouldn't mind having one of those in my life. Now, does it do all size cans?
I don't think so. I'll run down and grab the tool so you can see it. It's not that sophisticated looking.
I'm wondering, are 16s and 12 lids?
They are the same diameter. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess
19.2s are a different diameter.
Yeah, that would be different.
That is correct.
So I don't know if that tool would work in a 19.2 or
probably not.
But there's so much. I got a lot of fun stuff since we've last spoken. I got a new grill.
You did.
That we at some point in the show will have to discuss a little bit because I've got questions already. The heat diffuser came today.
Good.
I'm so excited. I can't even tell you. It's sitting
excited
under a small mountain of stone in my backyard.
Right.
So
right.
Well, the next time I get to use it, we'll see.
He got one of those acorns, Rob. That thing I got.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So he's like
nice.
I'm in the mix now.
Pretty psyched.
We got to put him into the barbecue thread.
I've mentioned that. Yeah. We got to get him going. That's just what he needs to be in another thread of
In
ours.
another thread with
to ignore
another thread to ignore.
To ignore the 300 messages.
You know what? No, I think
that one I'd read a lot.
Actually a thread. I think that's actually a thread that Egan would flourish on. Like you would see him start getting in conversations with all the otother guys that are on that thread. Because dude, some of those guys I don't even know them. Like I've never even met them.
Yeah, me too. I only know them through that.
Well, that's the funny. Like I've met KO through the show.
Yeah.
And PD I've never met on our on the music thread that we're on.
Our fish thread. There are music thread that we're on.
That you guys threw me in. So I do tune in, but when you guys are like clearly watching a show at the same time, and I'm waist deep in childcare, I'm like, I don't have time for this nonsense right now. I don't care. I don't care about this form of ocelot. Great.
Awesome. I have to agree with you. I have to agree with you on that. And lately, when I do that, I get told that I'm a ghost.
Yes.
Because here's the difference. There's an expectation that you're watching that show. There is zero expectation that I am watching it. So
great point. It's a great point.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
So when you say nothing, they're like, I guess Rob's dead.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Speaking
funny.
of shows.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, a topic. The Trey Beacon jams, man. How much are you missing that on a Friday night?
It's true. Yeah, that was fun for 8 weeks, man. That was a real treat.
It was pretty cool.
Geez. I didn't watch the documentary that came out last week.
I watched it. It was short. It was only about 28 minutes, maybe 18 minutes, 20 minutes.
Oh man, I want to check that out.
It's on it. You could find it. It's on his Facebook page. I think it's on Twitch.
Oh, all right. So it's not like it's
on
Netflix or anything. It's on Instagram TV or whatever. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll fire that up this weekend.
I got to admit, man, I think we've both kind of said this in one phase of things or another. There's some things that I love about Tab, and there's some things that I get kind of about. Mm-hmm. But man, the layout of those shows every Friday night were pretty impressive, man. Even the background vocals, the
strings,
the female backup vocalists, and some of the stuff they were doing was incredible on some of the material. The stuff with the strings was incredible. Then the one night where he had, I think it was the last night, and then the night before the last week where he had the horn section. I mean, there was so much stuff that was different each week that was incredible.
I didn't catch any of those shows, but I do know that it was like an emotional moment for many of you guys on that thread. Like, I really believe that some of you guys were like brought to tears with some of that music. Am I way off on the read?
No, I was very impressed. I was very impressed.
There was a lot of times where I was like, wow. This is something that we're seeing here. Just super cool. And I loved how they had it set up so he could interact with the fans. That was ridiculously cool. I will say my favorite moment, and for of course because
will you say?
I will say, yeah. My favorite moment for me, because I've been like overdosing on jazz, was one of the, I think it was the second to last one, or might have been the last one, when he let the sax player go.
Yeah.
And it turned into a Miles electric band jam.
Yep.
And they just, I mean, I was texting. So I have a guy, an old friend that I used to play with, and I may have referenced him on here before. He is 1.0 to his core, way longer than me. Like, he started with them in like 1990, and by like 94, 5, 6 when I started, he already hated everything, and I was.
He's like me.
Yeah.
It's like me everything. Until I got back on board and
he hated everything. He hated everything, and he still does hate everything for the most part. But like most of us, you can't stay away. You can't stay away. So he watches everything, and he'll always send me texts, random texts. We don't talk all that much. He'll send me a text about, oh, this is nonsense or that's nonsense. And that night, when they were blowing the roof off the place, Miles Davis style, he texted me. I did not initiate the text. He texted me and he was like, for the love of God, I hope you're watching this. And I was like, I was watching it from bed, and this shit blew up the way it did. And I got out of the bed and sat on the edge of the bed and am watching it in complete fucking awe of what I'm seeing. It was mind blowing. I have another friend who was an old school Fish fan. Won't go near Fish now. He's just like, man, it's not for me. Fuck Trey. He's over it. I sent him that clip, like about 2.5 minutes of that whole, like the end of that jam when they were like, it was like the spaceship landing, Jesus moonwalking across the stage, the whole shit. I sent it to him and he was like, oh wow. Oh, I had no idea. I was like, yeah, dude. Stuff aside, because this is legit.
I got one for you. There's an individual that I've been spending a lot of time with lately. Because me and him, our sons play sports together and all that, and he's a very dear friend of both of ours. He's a very heavy jazz guy. He is not, I found out, he's not a very big jam band person.
No, I knew that.
Okay.
He used to laugh at me about that shit. Okay,
so just to give you a little insight on something I pulled on him, because as you know, he's a music teacher. He's a music director at the school he teaches at and all that. So I said to him, I was like, man, you need to see this. I'm just going to put this on. I said, you got to let it play out. It's probably about 15 to 18 minutes.
Yeah.
But you have to listen to it. And when it's over, I want your opinion. And I put on the yem that he did with the strings.
Yeah.
And all that, all orchestrated. And then when it kicked in and the girls come in on the vocals and that whole extravaganza that went on.
Yeah.
And when that ended, he looked at me and he was like, dude, that was fucking pretty badass. I mean, and I was like, you can't deny it. I'm like, even if you don't like jam bands, then you can't deny it. I said, as somebody of your caliber,
as a music person.
Yeah, as a music person, you play all these instruments, you're a music teacher. You can't take that and say that, man.
No, you really can't.
And he was blown away, man, especially when it really kicked in, dude, with the bass.
It's wild.
Because he had never even heard the song.
Yeah, of course. It was great. It was really, really great. It was a lot of fun. I think I saw just about all of my Man Missed One. But I tuned in just about every week and look forward to it. It was awesome.
I believe that, and I might go on record here as saying that Yem might be my favorite Fish song.
All right.
Nice.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
It is a good one.
It is a great one. And then they that was usually on Friday, and then the next day they after the last one they played that show from '97, which was
wow.
Oh, my goodness.
That really made me. I think I even put that on the thread. I was like, I can't believe that I stopped seeing these guys.
Yeah.
From the point of 94 until 2003.
Yeah, you fucked up. I was lucky enough to start in 96. So like 96 through 2000 was outrageous.
So here's a nitpicky question. When does Fish 2.0 begin? Or when does 1.0 end?
2.0 begins right when I started seeing them again. So right on that 2003 New Year's Eve.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a small window of time.
And then when they disbanded, which was in 04, and they didn't come back until 09,
yep.
Right?
Yeah, March.
In 09, that starts 3.0.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were saying online, I mean, who cares, right, about any of this? But people were saying online, whether it's jokes or not, that when it all starts up again,
it'll be
4.0. There will be 4.0 noobs.
I'm not the new guy.
You will, and that's what one of the memes was like somebody with people cheering, and it was like 3.0 noobs excited for 4.0 to start.
I'm surprised that Mike Fenoy didn't throw something on social media that said Ryan Egan.
Yeah, right.
Dun, 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 dun.
I wish he had. I miss him. I called him in Thanksgiving time. I got to
did
call
you?
him again. I did. Yeah, he didn't pick
I
up.
got to reach out to him, man.
I
I
sent
haven't
the
reached
message.
out to any of our Osiris family at all. Like I haven't talked to Aaron or Apple in a long time from this Simple
No,
Road.
neither.
I got to shoot them a
Yo.
text, man.
There he is.
I don't know why I
Oh,
don't
there
have
he
video
is.
yet, but that's weird. I should have video.
You just got to click a little button on the top
I'm
there.
I'm looking for it there. Hold on. That's not the one. Why is my screen so screwed here? Hold on.
Was anyone shocked by any of this?
There we go.
Hello, Richard. Hello.
He's
Come on.
like
There I am.
Oh, look, there he is. Oh, I like his shirt.
keep
He's
calm
got
and
a-
blaze
Oh,
on.
you got hang on,
Calm
like
and blaze on.
He's got a fantasy tour shirt on. Look at you.
Look at
Where did you get
him.
that? Where'd that come from?
this? I don't remember. Oh, wedding. My buddy Dustin's wedding.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
Look at him.
I mean, you really only own like 6 shirts, and that's not one I've ever seen, so it's got to be relatively new.
It is one of the relatively newish ones, yes.
I gotta see. Yeah, all right.
JR, I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say something real fast.
There he goes.
Because when it was just me and you on here before record started and everything, you pointed out that, the way I looked and then the way you looked because of
Right.
our weight differential now, I have to admit, I still feel that Richard looks better than me. Every time I look down there, I need to get to his build, I feel.
Yeah, when did this happen?
Get to my build.
I feel like he's still lighter than me.
He looks it. He looks like he
Yeah,
needs
right?
he's punching under your weight class, Rob. But
That's what I'm saying. I don't feel that I have.
I don't think that you want to be.
I haven't
you wanna be that
plateau. I haven't hit to where I need to be yet.
What do you
until
want to be, a
I look
featherweight?
Like that. I got to look like that individual. Look at him. He's an Adonis.
Yeah, I'm real slim. Yeah, sure.
Rob,
Yeah.
you'll look like, if you look like Richard, if you now look like Richard does now, you'll appear as though you used to have muscles, but they no longer work.
I mean, when you see Richard in this state, I wonder. My brain just instantly goes to has he started doing cocaine again? Is where I go with that.
I don't know, but I do think if Ryan Egan tells me that I look older than Richard, you're definitely going to have a problem.
Oh, yeah, that's not a thing.
I felt awful about that afterwards, but I did tell. I did tell Cully
You should have
Naramore.
been there. You should have been there for that one, Richard. I was like, all right, and I'll see you. I'm paying the bill. I'm leaving.
I'm paying for all of
That was
this.
fun.
You're welcome.
He's like, man, you look good, but you've aged quite a bit since the last time I saw you. And I'm like, what? What are you
That's a
talking
hell of a
about?
thing.
Oh, that's
It's a
good.
hell of a
You
thing.
had that like whole patch of gray in your beard, and it was
You see what I did though? See,
you tightened it
down.
You trimmed
You
it down.
tighten it up. It doesn't. It's not there.
I think you did that because I said something.
No,
right.
you caught me on a week where I said to you where I had to let it go for a couple weeks.
I'm letting mine prosper in this whitish heaven.
Do we want to? Can I ask Richard a question?
I would love for that.
Sure.
There was a
What else are we
Facebook.
doing?
There was a Facebook.
Oh, please,
Announcement.
Ian, please, let's get into this. I'm gonna have to open another beverage.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to get a beer if we're going down this road.
Oh, we going to know what beers we have? All right, good.
Hold on.
I just cracked
Well,
one.
hold on. What are you drinking, Richard? What do you
I
got?
am
beer.
drinking a.
You look great, by the way, Richard.
Thank you, sir. You also look quite fabulous.
Thank you.
I'm drinking a Thin Man Brewery Trial by Wombat.
And what kind of style is a Trial by Wombat?
It is a India Pale Ale hopped with Galaxy.
Oh, lovely. How is it?
Yeah. It is actually really good.
That sounds delightful.
Yeah.
Jay, what'd you grab?
I went with the something called Elevation 4393 from Von Trapp.
Oh, nice. What is that?
So this is a collaboration that they did, Von Trapp Brewing,
With-
up in Vermont, with a brewery called Wormtown Brewery, Wormtown Brewery, whatever. I had never heard of them, but I think they're on the West Coast, and they do a double IPA. And let's see, I think I read a little bit about it on the back here. It's their lager version of the Wormtown Be Hoppy IPA. They
So
are
it's
from the West
it's an
Coast.
IPL.
So they made it.
India
They made an
Pale Lager.
IPL. Yeah, they made an India Pale Lager. So these guys, the Wormtown people did a beer, called Be Happy IPA. They are from the West Coast. These guys. So Von Trapp did it with a heap of Vermont. They used natural spring water from Stowe, Vermont, steeped Austrian brewing tradition. We are using lager yeast, Pilsner malt to put our spin on this awesome brew from our friends at Wormtown. The beer features Citra Cascade hops to bring a delightful hoppy smile to your face. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so it's an IPL, and a lot of times IPLs get a bad rap.
I love them.
I do too. I like a nice hoppy lager, but I'm going to give this a go. I mean, I love this brewery anyway, Von Trapp. I don't know much about Wormtown. Like I said, they're from the West Coast.
One of my favorite IPLs comes out of Massachusetts at why am I blanking? Jack's Abbey.
Amazing beer.
Yeah, they just make.
And this is absolutely phenomenal.
Nice
I
little
thought you were going
brewery,
to say Pottstown,
too.
PA.
No.
Have you ever been to that brewery, Egan?
Yeah, my brother. When I visit my brother, we will.
I figured,
we'll
'cause I know you're
sometimes
up
get
there.
out. Yeah. It's in Framingham, so it's not right. It's not right in the city, so it's a little bit of a drive from where my brother lives because he's south of the city. But it's
killer brewery.
Yeah, it's a cool little
I've had
spot,
from
man.
them.
When I worked for Great Divide, our wholesaler that was distributing our beer in Boston, they were literally right up the street from where the brewery was. So
yeah.
I'd gone there for a meeting and then shot right over and checked the brewery out one day. It was really cool.
My
A couple years ago,
my
years ago, actually.
My brother took me there, and on the drive over, or right before the drive, because I followed him in a separate car, but he was like, "Yeah, I heard that they just had a problem with one of their batches, and somebody opened like one of the valves, and it ended up like basically flooding the whole floor of the brewery, and they lost the whole batch." And I was like, "Yeah, probably don't bring that up when we go in there." And I swear to you, we walked in, and he's like, "Hey, so heard about that problem you guys had a couple weeks ago." I was like, "I'm gonna kill you." I was like, "Can you ask them about that after they've served us? We're never gonna get a second beer. There's 25 other people waiting for beers in here,
Wow.
and they're never like we're gonna never get." I remember like pulling money out of my wallet and like throwing an enormous tip that I would have tipped them anyway, but like more than I would have.
Right.
Like,
right.
"Hey, please, I know we look alike, but
Hey, aren't you guys who ruined that beer?
I
So
like that Richard's got that 80s kung fu movie delay thing happening.
he does again." Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, really?
Oh god.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's bad.
It's
It's
bad.
bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
I really don't like when I have that sort of delay thing happening.
It's really bad. But I'm trying not, and that's even worse. Don't make that face.
JR, one thing I'll tell you too, man. It's a shame I haven't had the pleasure of you gracing your presence in my humble abode over here.
Well, it's the middle of a
But-
pandemic, and I don't go anywhere.
I know, but I got to tell you, man. I have a keg of Stone Never Ending Haze IPA on tap.
All right.
4%, dude. This is
Yeah.
great, man. Like
Yeah.
I just sip this like it's water, like all day long. It's
See,
perfect.
I feel like you're contradicting yourself a little bit because 10 minutes ago you sat there and told me you're not drinking as much as you were, and you're very busy.
But
with
when
double
I am,
IPAs.
but when I am, I'll drink this,
When
or
I
I have
am.
just a couple different IPAs each night. That's it. But this is fantastic.
Yeah, I do love that one.
You'd
That
love
was
this, dude. Especially like
Oh.
Thanksgiving when it was warm. I was out here barbecuing all day.
tremendous.
Oh my
I
god,
bet.
it was ridiculous.
Tremendous.
I'm gonna circle back. I'm gonna circle back to two things.
He's circling back.
One, it was 2 years ago that we discussed "Baby It's Cold Outside." I looked it
I
up.
thought.
Which
It was
also
too.
during that conversation, we learned about Richard's new relationship with this
Oh,
woman.
that is correct. You are right. Yes.
Good work.
Which, by the way,
Parallel. This is
He-
great.
he-
Here we go.
happy anniversary.
Happy
Thank you.
anniversary,
Richard.
Richard.
Thank you.
So,
2 years you've evidently. Egan, go ahead.
not discussed this woman since that moment, I don't think. And I don't know if that was
But yet on social media, you guys are together and you had a second anniversary.
I'll bet if you went back and watched and or listened to that episode, because of course there's no video, the same story I told in that episode would mirror the same story now. Only it's weirder and gone on way too long.
Are you guys still going to church together and singing and stuff?
No.
Okay.
She no longer goes to church. So
You've converted her.
right. I've done that far, yeah.
Did he
I got
say
her to smoke
she,
more
or
weed,
did he say he?
take more pills,
She said she.
but I don't see her very
He
often.
did
'cause
say
it's,
she?
You know, it's COVID.
Yeah.
She,
Okay,
yeah, she,
all right.
she is a she. Yep. Yep.
Okay,
I haven't
all
crossed
right,
over
all
yet.
right. For some reason, I thought he said he for a second.
It's the delay.
I
It's
looked
the
right
delay.
at JR, but his facial expression never changed. So I'm like, I think it might just be me.
Yeah.
I could mute the video if that helps.
Well, no. I gotta see, because I you know what I like about the video is, as Egan was bringing it up, I'm staring daggers into your face, and even through this computer, I can sense. And I was going to say something when Egan finished his sentence. I can sense that you are not altogether comfortable discussing this.
I agree.
Yeah, look, I don't want to hurt the poor girl. You know, she's a little out there. She's really
Okay.
nice. Look, I like hanging out with her. She's real fun to hang out with.
All right.
She desperately, I think, wants what she's seeing on social media.
What?
And
We're not really dating.
What is that?
No, you don't remember the story. Don't you remember the story?
No,
you don't remember the
I
story.
don't-
Is that the problem?
2 years ago. I barely remember. I know
thought
JR
you
doesn't
remember- I
remember
thought the
at all.
point of Ryan bringing it up was you remembered the story. Oh, let me back.
the only thing about it's because there was on our
Let
our
me start from the
thread,
beginning.
we were all
I
very
date-
confused.
You sold her a
let me start from the
piano.
beginning. I sold the girl a piano, yes, and I started dating this very nice girl.
I remember
then-
that.
And then it didn't exactly work out. We had very crazy schedules, and it was just too busy and not necessarily my thing, because she's
But it
very.
felt like it ended shortly thereafter.
It did. And what she asked me was, hey, my mom, she's half Filipino, half Cherokee Indian or something. So her mom said, hey, my mom wants to fix me up with literally like a cousin. And she has a very strange living situation with her mom. So she said, hey, can I just leave on her social media that we're still dating? And I said, sure.
Can I stop you real? Can I stop real fast?
Yeah.
The mother
Yep. Crazy.
wants
Crazy.
to hook her daughter up with a cousin. You said
A cousin, an actual family member, like a second cousin from the Philippines, wants her to bring that person over from the Philippines so that they can get in the country. And I guess the guy's rich. I don't know. I don't know a lot about the situation.
You don't know. You've been together 2 years. She's tweeted about it on social media. You don't know.
When we do hang out once in a while, she wants to like listen to Queen and get high. She doesn't really want to. But she's also a little socially.
He has hung out with her, then JR. That's what he just said. They get high
out with her.
together.
Yeah, we still hang out. We're just not dating. There's no dating going on. There's
I
no
don't know.
sex going on. There's none of that going on.
I don't know that she's aware of that.
I was going to say from the Facebook post, and I don't know if this is just to throw the cousin off the scent, right?
This is to throw the cousin off the scent, yes.
Wow.
But that's a hell of a thing to write.
But I got to tell you, she would go back out with me in a heartbeat, and she proposes it every 2 or 3 months. Oh yeah, I'm a super great catch. Yeah, I live at home with my parents. Yeah, I'm a fantastic catch. I'm a famous radio host and big time podcaster. Well,
my name is George, and I live with my parents.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were all very confused. I know I put the picture of it. Well, someone said, you know what it was? None of us. Someone who is an internet sleuth. I don't know how he does it. One of our friends, he finds things on the internet, because I'm not looking as closely as him. He finds these nuggets, and he'll screenshot it and send it to me, knowing it's like dropping a lit cigarette in the forest in California when he drops it on me. Like, you know what's going to happen. And I'm like, what the hell is this? He's like, I don't know. I thought you knew about this. I'm like, I don't know about anything about this. So then, of course, I grab it and I run to our group thread and I drop it there and go, what the fuck is going on here? And the three of us, sans Richard, have all kind of wild speculations. And Richard just never answered the thing. No. And it just sat there like a matzo ball.
Who would have thought that there is an actual woman on this earth who needs to play that
use
her
cover
and Richard are together
I'm
to
the
keep
worst
her
choice.
life completely sane. She needs to keep on social media that her and Richard are still together and involved to keep her world where she needs it to be. How is that possible?
Still crazy after all these years.
My parents sent me a, hey,
You think?
happy ... anniversary?
Question mark.
And I'm like, for fuck's sake. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they were a little confused too.
Do you want to invite your friend for dinner?
No, she's always at the house when we first started dating. That was like right around Christmas, Thanksgiving, and she came over for Thanksgiving and brought her dad, and that was
You went to New York and you saw
She brought her dad.
Yeah,
Wait.
To your parents' house.
yeah, and her dad is I don't know even how to explain.
How
and
have
he is-
your parents?
Well, they were the ones
said
who
this
kind of
before.
encouraged it. They're like, yeah, okay. He apparently has,
They are without saints among regular people. These
Beyond
people
belief.
walk the earth.
Yeah,
That they
Beyond
put
belief.
up with this shit.
yeah, totally.
They said,
was,
"Why don't you, Richard? Why don't you take this strange lady you're dating and have
to
her
be your
bring
lawfully wedded wife.
her even more strange father, and bring the whole gang over to the house here, and let's have a holiday."
That's
Of
what
our
would,
summer high time.
Oh my God.
they would. That's where I think they would either jump off a bridge or murder me in my sleep. At that point, that would be the last straw.
Would
Yeah,
they
that
use
would be the end of it.
Would they use the Walt Whitman or the Ben Franklin? I guess that's the question.
They'd have to do some measurements. The highest one,
You're the highest one.
There's no way.
I'm crying, dude. I'm over here crying.
There's
My
no way.
God.
I'm trying not to spit beer out on my computer here because I need this thing to work.
Well,
Tears coming out of my eyes. Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh, Jesus.
the singing lifeguard, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, your boss just came in, gave you
Yeah.
liner notes.
Who you talking to?
Uh-oh.
What's up, fella?
Howdy,
Here we
nice
go.
to see you boys. Are you drinking beer? Hot
Damn
damn, I
straight we
like
are.
to see that. I'm happy for you, and Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah if you want to, the other kind, and I hope you're having a good time.
All right.
You guys
Yeah.
look good,
Cute.
I'll tell you that.
Thank
and
you.
He's the best producer in the world.
That he is.
Somebody thinks so.
That he is.
Whose
One
world?
person thinks so.
What world?
That's the way it goes.
I should let you laugh amongst yourselves for a minute. I'll set this gentleman up on a computer, so this doesn't do that. I'll be like 30 seconds.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll
then,
handle
Take
it.
your time, Richard.
That's
We
plenty,
have
that's plenty to
some
discuss.
hey,
Don't you worry.
Do you want a tease?
Yeah.
Okay, so the tease would be what upset her the most was me telling her that I'm not going out with anybody, right? And that she knew a long time ago I was going to a buddy's wedding, and that that maybe I'd bring somebody or maybe I wouldn't. I can't bring anybody, not doing any of that kind of thing. It's all low key, probably not happening. Just anything to keep her off a scent of trying to worm her way into going to a buddy's wedding.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to then leave that as the tease, and I shall return
okay.
momentarily.
For the
All right,
conclusion
sure.
of that story.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
I'm still blown away by everything that we just found out.
So I have decided now that we're doing this, and I am in control here of the audio and visual elements. I now have control. We will be releasing video of this on YouTube.
Oh, really? I wish I'd known. I'm like, keep moving my hair back because I'm like, it's bugging me. Anyway,
I don't even
Who are
care.
you, George
cut it.
Clooney?
I would have cut it today.
Who are
No,
you,
I'm
George
not
I
doing
don't
it.
even care. It's worth it.
We're in the
Okay,
middle
I'm
of a
fine. I'm
pandemic.
fine.
We're in the
I'm
middle of a
okay.
pandemic.
I'm not that vain.
You shouldn't be.
I'm
I'm
not that vain.
300. I'm 350 pounds over here, Ian. I'm the size of the three is put
You went
together,
from
and I'm not worried about
a cold 3 to a 350.
it. I don't know. I feel
that
it.
was a
I
quick
feel every
ascension.
pound of it.
I had that in my notes. That was going to be a question before we get to the new
I
year.
haven't-
I wanted to know where he was.
Where are you, by the way? I know that
I don't know.
you've lost like 40 pounds, but where are you?
I'm about 40. Yeah, I'm down about 40. Right now, I am right in the about 215 range.
Mm-hmm. I
My goal is to be down to the 180 range.
was gonna say 185 is
Yep.
would be
In
my
my
goal.
experience, there are two types of pandemic people. That pandemic person right there.
Would that be me that you're pointing at?
That is
Because on my screen you're pointing at me.
that lost all the weight, and this that found all the weight. Those are the two people I've come across in the pandemic. People that took advantage of their situation and those that stuffed their faces.
While Richard's doing that, I'm going to go grab another beer.
It's a great plan.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
JR, there is a woman on this earth that needs to pretend that she is with Richard.
That's something. I don't know that I want to keep going with this story.
I'm just blown away by that. How is there
he
a
started
woman
talking
that
about
needs
the
him?
He started talking about the wedding or whatever, and he
I've
completely
lost
me.
it.
Like I lost. I'm
Hey,
completely
Rob.
lost.
Not all heroes wear capes.
I hear you. I hear you. Jeez.
Egan ran all the way back up the steps to say that. He ran back
He did.
Get his beer.
He had to. Yes, he felt the need. I don't blame him. Richard, of all people.
I don't know, man. I don't know that.
I
don't.
know.
don't that
I know
wanna
another
keep
topic that we can get on
down that road. Yeah, I'm down for whatever.
Because
Whew.
I don't think that we physically spoke about this at all. I think we talked a little bit through texts here and there, but we did lose somebody very big in the music industry since the last time that we've gotten together to do a podcast.
Yeah, it happened. Well, I mean, take your pick.
Edward Van Halen.
Yeah, Eddie Van Halen died. We lost Toots Hibbard. I don't remember if we talked about that. But yeah, Eddie Van Halen,
I feel like we lost Toots in between, though. I feel like
probably.
we just never talked about it.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, Eddie Van Halen, and Tony Allen.
Tony Allen, yeah.
And who else? Hugh Masekela this year, I believe he was. I don't know. There was a lot.
There was a lot.
There was a lot. No, I mean, maybe no more or no less than any other year. But it just seems so amplified. Such a strange year, man. Because like when you think about, now it's a weird experience time right now. When you think about March, in your head, it feels like it was 2 years ago.
I know.
It was 9 months ago, but it felt like the quickest year I've ever lived. But when you look back, it feels like it was so long ago.
So long ago.
It's really a bizarre feeling that I've never felt, and it's hard to articulate it because I've never, and I mean, I'm sure no one has ever experienced it.
I walked into the last 4 words of that, and I knew exactly what you were talking about, and I know exactly how you're feeling too.
It's just so weird. Like I forget who I was talking to the other day when we moved into this house or whatever. I was telling somebody we moved, and I'm like, yeah, last year we moved in. And the person I was with was like, dude, that was this year. And I was like, what? Oh my God, you're right. It was February. It feels like
you moved in right before everything shut down.
It feels like it was the February before that. It feels like we've been here that long. But that's
also because here's the thing. You haven't left that house. I mean, you have, but you're spending more time in that house than you spend in any other house because
100%.
you're in it.
Well, yeah,
all the time.
100%. Especially like right now, like as all this is raging around us. Like I think I said on a there you go. The tone would still.
Egan, I texted on the music thread that I had that, and you never even you didn't give me a thumbs up, nothing. I thought that was fantastic. That beer.
Probably a night that I couldn't respond. I don't know.
Yeah, I had that in the parking lot tailgating at my son's hockey tournament during Thanksgiving time.
I wanted to write
fantastic, man.
I wanted to write very busy, but I was in fact too busy to write very busy. So
Oh, you two must be in teaching hell. Right?
No, I'm not.
God,
no,
I don't even want to get into that.
My wife's in it. Cutting all my hair off
the
tomorrow.
Other day, oh, look, see, now he's self-conscious about his wig. It's funny. The other day, Rob Forzik jumped on our music thread, and he was like, God damn it, they announced another, we're homeschooling till Martin Luther King Day. And I was like, how long is that? And I looked at the calendar, and I'm like, oh, look, 6 weeks. I typed back us like, Rob Forzik saw his shadow. 6 more weeks of homeschool teaching for him. What was that, the beer thread? I don't remember which thread it was on. Who knows?
The one thing I didn't lay out to you guys when I put that on the thread was that entire weekend, like starting on Friday. That was like, so the week they were virtual the week coming out of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right. And then they were supposed to go back that Monday. Yeah. And that entire weekend, the school was sending emails saying, we're coming back. Don't be discouraged. We know a lot of places are closing. There's a lot of things going on. Don't worry about it. We're going to be there on Monday. And then Sunday,
we are here for you.
Sunday night at 6:30 at night, I'm sitting watching football, and here it comes. Ding! The old email. Sorry, we're not going to be open. We're now going to be doing virtual learning from this point on until January such and such. And I was
19th, I thought you wrote, right?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Exactly, my friend.
Oh, that's great.
So, Richard, you teased us
That's
there.
why I was up in arms the way I was.
You are a gentleman that is a professional at being up in arms. You always have been. There was a time when we were very young men where you would literally be up in arms.
Oh yeah,
you would be yelling with your arms in the air like you're signaling a touchdown.
I don't go that far anymore. I don't think. I feel like
your father's rage coming.
Speaking of touchdown, we got football starting in 25 minutes. And I'm in the playoffs in the fantasy football league. And Rob Forsick.
My ascent was a week too late.
He started 1 week too late. He would have made it. Not only would you have made it, I'm interested to see how far you would have gone, Mr. Forsick.
Yeah.
Because I think that your team is peaking at this moment. Like, it is just kind of like, I'm with you. Crushing. And
this is peak middle-aged white guy podcast talk right here.
It feels like D&D for sports nerds.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And
it is, Richard. You've said that for years.
It's true. I will.
And I am the dungeon master of our league.
You really are.
Dungeon master.
I'm in a sports pool here. I'm not doing bad. I mean, I'm not winning, but shockingly, I'm not in the bottom.
I have never, ever once played the fantasy sports, whatever the fuck. Never did it. I'm waiting for congratulations.
I was going to say shocker. Shocker.
Speaking of sports, have you seen this nonsense that starter jackets are coming back?
Check this out. So back at my parents' house.
So you've seen this then,
dude? Back on the ranch.
You didn't look shocked when I said.
No, I'm not shocked. Listen, I've got my finger on the pulse of street culture, Rob Forsick. Don't you worry about me. So in my parents' basement, about a year ago, I happened to be rooting down in one of they've got closets in the basement full of shit. And I go down and I root through shit. And I found my brother's pullover Flyers starter jacket. It's not going to fit me, obviously, but I grabbed it. I grabbed it, and my brothers and their families were upstairs. It was like a holiday or something. So I ran upstairs, and I was like, look at this. And my youngest brother, it was his jacket, and his son, who at the time I think was like 10 or 11, he was like, oh my God, what is for real? A starter jacket? And I handed it to him, and my brother's like, yeah, you can have it. And the kid wears the Flyers starter jacket. Every time there's an Instagram post with their family, he's rocking the starter jacket. Like it's
nice.
It's a deal. Yeah, the kids are all in on the starter jackets, man. All that shit from the 90s that I was into is a thing again.
Yeah.
Is a thing. It's crazy. Had I saved my silly Raiders jacket, I'd be able to retire. I sold it online. All that nonsense I had. The Eagles jacket, the Raiders jacket, the starter hats, all that shit. I had all the stuff.
You know what I had? 0.
I know you did.
0.
And me too.
It was like opposite ends of the galaxy until our paths crossed.
Yep.
And then I know a ton of you rubbed off on me, and I know, well, I wish a ton of me rubbed off on you, but I'm still sitting on a ton of me. I can't seem to shake it. It's an epidemic over here. Drink more beer.
As he pounds another beer,
You put another one back, brother.
I've got like 3 shirts that fit me. I bought this champion. Speaking of things from the 90s, I bought this champion sweatshirt, new champion sweatshirt. Let me get this champion sweatshirt. And the
Oh, you filled me in on this when we saw each other last week.
Yeah, I heard this as well.
Yes, but this is great. You got to tell it.
Well,
you got to tell Richard.
Richard
Richard
where I had the option of getting a 2X and a 3X. And I got the 3. I was like, I want it to be big. And I got the 3X and it showed up and it's still too fucking small. It's unbelievable. This is what I'm dealing with.
well, they make them tighter now, right? That's the
Let's go with
something
that.
I've heard.
Let's go with that.
For a skinnier guy.
I lost my favorite champion sweatshirt. It was a crew neck. It was gray heather crew neck in a La Quinta Inn in San Antonio, Texas in 1997. Oh, it was great. It was so comfortable.
I don't think I own a sweatshirt. I don't actually own sweatpants either, for that matter.
Of course,
I
it
don't
was a
own
crew
sweatpants.
neck. That's all I have to say. Of course, it was a crew neck.
I wasn't rocking hoodies. I couldn't pull them off. I wasn't tough enough. I wasn't hard enough.
You got to be tough and hard to wear a shirt with a hood on it.
Yeah,
I guess so.
yeah. You weren't. I was 120 pounds soaking wet in high school. When I had a hood on, I looked
trim swimming weight.
I looked like
I don't understand.
I looked horrible in a hoodie. You gotta be kidding.
I mean, I never really
I
had the hood.
I wore a beanie.
You think
like
a crew
wool
neck
hat.
looked better?
Hold on a second.
It
You-
fit.
you wore a
it,
what-
it
you
fit
wore a
my
what?
style. Don't you worry about me.
You wore a what? A beanie?
You know, a wool like it had a pom pom on the top, and it was a wool hat.
I think you'd have been better off in a hood, Holmes.
Yeah,
I think so too.
The 3 of us are laughing.
green here.
Your
I went
mirror's-
to
your mirror's broken.
I went to a prep school, guys, at the end of high school. Like I was
You would have looked like
I
the
was-
tough guy then.
I was rocking khakis and like I had leather shoes. I
I was
not
going to
have
ask you what your shoes
I
are.
did not have sneakers. I mean I had a pair of Adidas running shoes. They were trail runners.
Oh, of course they were, but I was going to say lottos.
Of course, because
Of course,
Where
they
was
were
I
just
run-
like the crew
what
neck.
was I doing? Running underwater? I was underwater like 8 hours a day. I was not. When I was above water, I was so uncool. It was unbelievable. I mean, I guess it's very believable. Maybe I don't know.
But underwater.
But underwater, I was
He's an Adonis.
a fucking Aquaman, is what I was.
There he is.
You guys remember my swim shoe period when I wore those ocean shoes or whatever those shoes are called? The shoes you wear in the ocean. I was just wearing them everywhere for a while.
Yes.
Look
was in the apartment.
look on JR's
also not a good
face.
look.
No, it was a terrible look. It looked absolutely ridiculous. I wore them everywhere all winter for no good reason at all.
I'm just gonna tell you. I'm just gonna raise my hand right now, JR. It's something you said about 10 minutes ago. Yeah, this has to get released on YouTube because the look on your face when he just said, "Do you remember that?" is priceless.
It's traumatizing to me. I was busy hanging with him, and
Yeah.
he had his big giant wife, and I'm running around trying to like talk to chicks, and he shows up in these aqua socks.
Yeah. That's what they're called, aqua socks, right?
There was no wonder I had such a difficult time
Oh, those
I
things
also-
are
running
great.
around with you in aqua socks
I wore a lot of Birkenstocks
in the
too.
city.
Oh,
I was a Birkenstock
There
wearer.
wasn't.
I might have
there
worn
wasn't
the
a body.
fluid.
There wasn't a body of water within 2 hours of us, and
Right.
you're running around in aqua socks
Right.
on South Street,
yeah.
North and South. We're standing in line at Jim Steaks. You got aqua socks on
but he
in October.
but he had a hoodie with a kangaroo pouch in the middle. It was great.
Unbelievable.
Do you remember the time? This is before all that when I don't remember what ugly shit I was wearing, and Krasner's like, our friend Mike Krasner had said, "I've had enough," and literally like pulled the shirt off my body and gave me a sweater. He's like, "I am tired of what you're wearing." He's like, "You wear the worst clothing on the planet," and just dressed me before we went out. He's like, "Here, wear this." It was like a purple pink
Of course
ugly
it was.
sweater with like a weird giant overstuffed turtleneck. Like it was the ugliest sweater on the planet, and he ripped it off my body.
You and I are trying to get chicks out in the wild, and we're running around with you,
Right.
looking ridiculous.
Wearing the ugliest clothes on the planet. Yeah. Yeah, he
Yeah,
just
it's me and my
stopped me in my
buddy and that guy. He's with us too. Yeah,
Right.
And
wave him in.
this walking circus show.
he was checking in too.
He's got stilts.
Walking circus show.
The look on his face was priceless. Like, he just looked at me walking with this pink sweater. He's like, "No, I can't. You can't. We can't. You can't go out in that."
We are on a beer podcast, so I was going to circle back to some beer. You know what I did see in the basement, and I was going to bring up. I organized over the weekend. I went downstairs and organized. I probably had 25 boxes of shit down there, and I went through. I threw a bunch of shit out.
I carried all of them down there, so I know exactly how many boxes you have in that basement.
Forever in debt to Ryan Egan for those things. But those boxes have not moved since that day, by the way. So I actually did it and got it done over the weekend.
That would be pre-COVID.
It was, yeah. It was
pre-COVID.
It was
Valentine's Day weekend.
It was, yes, that's what it was.
Which feels like I said, doesn't that feel like it was 2 years ago? It does to me.
Oh yeah.
But I did find Egan, and I was gonna bring it up and open it tonight, but it's a bad plan because it's 12% alcohol, 12.5, I believe.
The Boughs of Barley.
Yeah. From
We got to share that.
There's no way I'm opening that by myself.
Well,
I went down there and grabbed it, and I got halfway up the steps, and I was like, "Oh, absolutely not! Turn back around, put it back on the shelf."
Well, I wanted to have a taste of that because I brought it to that podcast we did at your old house.
Yes.
So I would like to be present when that bottle is opened. Or
you will be. And there is. I do have to open another beer. I did find a bunch of old. I found a Scaldus Noel that
I have quite a few of those.
Probably 10 years old, and I'm terrified of that because it's also 14%. I'd love to open it, but I just don't want to waste it. They're all these 750 milliliter bottles.
14%.
What are you talking about, dude? I drank a whole bottle of one of those to myself on one of the episodes.
Yeah.
A Scaldus Noel?
Yeah.
Recently I did. This year I did.
Why would you drink a Christmas beer?
We talked about that because I was digging through
because it was COVID and everything was shut down. He wasn't going out, and he was like, "I'm just going through my stuff."
I think it was like one of the first episodes. Egan, we need to look at that. We need to reference that. I think it was like one of the first episodes we did this year.
That I'd have to check audio on that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was one of the first times we got together.
So we probably got that Scaldus Noel at the same time. If you had it, and
probably because I still have more bottles of it.
It was probably in that case that was given to us as a thank you for doing a good job when you and I worked at the same company.
Yes, I have quite a few bottles left of it.
They gave us that case of random shit that they couldn't sell, so they pawned it off on us.
Yeah, and now it's in our collection.
I have it downstairs.
It's a holiday bonus.
Quite a few.
That's what. Yeah, it was one of those deals. It was a nice gesture.
Jelly a month club.
Yeah, it was a nice gesture because it was like we ended up with like 12. Yeah, we ended up with like 12 awesome beers. But they were
the happiest Christmas since being bros we danced with Danny fucking K.
Ever gonna have.
But I should open something else. I don't know what. I've got the Trogs variety pack in there. I do have a Mad Elf. I'm gonna skip that.
I don't want to skip the fact that we were left with a teaser.
I know.
I don't even want to go back.
That's a big old ball. Do we have to wrap that up?
He's like, yeah, of course we do. We got to tie a bow on that. He's laying in the. He can't even hear us anymore. He's talking to his. Is he producing a show as he's talking to us?
He's totally producing a show. This guy's trying to do a show, and Richard's on our show.
We need
the video. Yeah, absolutely.
The poor guy's coming out. He's probably in a commercial break, trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
What did I do?
It's probably what you didn't do, if I had to guess.
No, I was just catching up on what I'm going to have to do when we're done all this.
With Jim Crane, the singing lifeguard.
My work never ends, boys.
Is that who that was?
Yeah, that's exactly who that was.
Oh, yeah. See, I've never seen him before. I had no idea that that's who that was.
Hey,
Richard, you've seen him. Richard has sent videos from Pleasantville Music because that's his store.
I guess I just didn't put it both.
We got to put them all together, yeah.
Oh, if he's in that room and we speak, he can't hear us, right?
No.
Okay. Because I don't want to say anything silly about his,
anything.
No, you're saying
affinity for vodka.
Yep, and no, and correct. And no.
Clear distilled spirits.
Yes.
Yeah. I am going to open another beer, though. I'm going to go look in the fridge and see what's there. And Richard, I believe you have to finish this ridiculous story about a wedding, whatever you were talking about.
Can I go away? Can I go get a beer too? And
I'll listen to it, and I'll relay to you guys on a text thread later. I guess I don't know. Our audience will know.
All right.
Well, first I'll catch up with you, Mr. Egan. How are you, Mr. Sir? I miss you. How you been? You
I
all
miss
right?
you too. I liked our exchange of voicemails back in like late November, early December.
Yeah, they were fun.
Everything's good. Kids are good. Wife's good. Family's good.
What's awesome?
Homewood's doing good. Yeah.
I love
that. Holiday week, so it was a busy week.
Right. I keep thinking I could get over there. It's not so far from my house. It's not like it's hard to get there.
Give me a call when you're coming because the tasting room isn't really operating the way that it used to. So,
right.
But if you want to come in and have a couple of sodas,
I need to come in and grab
make that happen.
I actually need to come and grab some beer that I need to send to somebody too.
All right.
I have a buddy that out in the middle of nowhere. I promised I'd send him some beer.
Okay.
He's heard me talk about it.
Not in Colorado.
No. Oh, no. Actually, one from this wedding and one military buddy of mine.
I feel like this wedding was quite a turning point in your life. You've been on this thing 20 minutes and you've referenced it 12 times.
We haven't started talking about it, so I can set it up now. So let's go back a long time ago to pre-COVID when a good friend of mine, and we'll keep names, innocent.
I hear the Jim
is getting married
a long time ago.
And of course, COVID eventually hits.
That's the one thing I'm trying to figure out. Everyone keeps saying post-COVID, but I don't feel
we're
like
not post-COVID.
We're definitely not post-COVID.
How are we post-COVID? That's
we're definitely not.
We are
using it as a reference.
In COVID.
I definitely feel like we are not post.
We are in the.
We're still in COVID.
Yeah, you're right.
Pre-COVID. So pre-COVID and hanging out with this girl, I go to get a tux fitting. Okay, and she comes with me, and while I'm doing better in life than I've been doing before, I'm, maybe not the richest person on the planet sometimes. And I go to put a deposit and she's like, you know what? I think I probably paid for drinks or something. And she said, you know what? I'll pay for this. And after a long-winded thing of not, arguing and whatever, she wins because, I don't want to give up the money anyway. And she paid the half of my tux rental. And she's like, good, now you're obligated to take me as a guest. And I laughed that off. Ha, 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 funny, right? She took that vaguely seriously for a while. Now, this was supposed to be a 150-person wedding, right? Big wedding. COVID hits, the wedding gets put off. They get married without a wedding, without a big ceremony. And then the place they're having finally comes and says, hey, look, we're going to keep your money. And if the governor doesn't cancel it, they've put it off far enough. You have to have the wedding. So they cut it down to about 50 people. So I was never going to take her anyway, but I also didn't want to break her heart and not tell her I'm not taking her. I wasn't going to take her, but I didn't want to do any of that. And I didn't want her to figure it out. So I just didn't tell her about the wedding at all, in any sort of conversation or anything. I figured I'd tell my buddy, hey, do me a favor. Don't tag me in a picture or something so this doesn't kind of come up. Let me quickly tell you about the wedding because the wedding was bonkers. We all got COVID. So my buddy is immune compromised. So anybody who was going to be with him had to go get a COVID test so we could party and have a good time.
He said COVID. I thought he said Coke.
You heard Coke. I heard it.
I thought he said Coke.
Well, that's getting there. Don't relax. That's coming. Everybody had to get a
COVID test. It was there somewhere.
I saw it on the horizon.
So we could party and snort Coke
we were
together.
headed that direction.
Yes. So we got a giant party bus. We got this giant house in Brigantine. When I mean giant, I mean the basement floor had a indoor pool and hot tub. If you didn't like that hot tub, you went to the third floor covered outdoor hot tub with the pizza oven.
Who paid?
This house was fucking baller.
Not him.
Who paid?
No,
for this?
I know. No, so the wedding party. So the groom's, the wife's parents or somebody paid for it.
And who is this groom?
I don't want to name the names.
You don't have to name the name. How does he relate to you?
He's my mechanic. That I've told you about.
In the network.
He's in the network.
Yeah.
He's in the network of mechanics
that I've referred to before.
He's a priority.
Yeah.
It's a priority plus network.
Richard is such a frequent flyer with this mechanic that he's getting a tux for the wedding.
Right. I'm in his wedding. So I'm in the wedding. I'm in the wedding.
Egan, have you ever been in your mechanic's wedding?
No.
I didn't think so.
Yeah. Egan, have you ever hung out with your mechanic outside of him fixing your vehicle?
Of course, yeah.
Walt is a fantastic person, and I bring him beer whenever I'm like, "Hey, can you shave a couple dollars off?"
No, in fairness, he's way more mechanic, and he's actually the guy who bought me this shirt. So I mean, we're way past the. We go to fish shows together. He's the guy I got into fish. I mean, he's a stellar human being. So this party is out of hand. I mean, it is. It's our old party house. I mean, it is Coke and K and Molly and nitrous tank everywhere. No. In fact, I'm getting the best part. Not only is it not dudes, there's way more girls out of my league at this party than I have ever seen.
How is the mechanic A? The mechanic had access to a nitrous tank, and B, he hauled in a pack of chicks.
He did not haul in anything. His wife is very good looking. Her friends, very good looking. There was just a host of some rich people there. There was his version of the kid was there. I mean, it was that party. Question.
He had his own version of the kid?
I'm feeling like you may have been the thumb in a whole party full of fingers here in my estimation.
I was one of a couple, but yes. But to be fair,
observation, JR.
There was also a few female versions of me, which is what I'm getting to.
Rob Porzick and Egan, you have little kids. That song on Sesame Street.
Yeah.
One of these things is not like the other.
But there were a few female versions of me.
Let him finish.
So I get to a point later in the night when, I've ingested pretty much, the salad bar, right? And one of these that I'm not very good at is called K. I am not good with this drug.
All right.
Yeah. And
I will co-sign that.
You know about the rave where I passed out in the fence. Yeah. I mean, I've had previous instances.
I feel like I was around a few times.
Yep.
You were
a couple times it's worked.
Yeah.
So I begged the person giving it to me. I said, "Hey, I just want like the baby amount, like just enough to make me feel it." And they said, "Great. Here's what you do." Okay, and I did that much of it.
Give me just a little.
So I'm now sitting with a girl.
I have just the tip.
Let's call her Amber. Okay. So me and Amber are sitting having a conversation. Check Your Head is on, the Beastie Boys. And it is fucking glorious, right? I'm having this great time, great conversation with this girl. Things seem to be going great. It's that kind of party. I cannot believe how my luck is working out.
Oh, it was that kind of party.
He's putting his dick in the mashed potatoes.
Yep, that's what I
dick in the mashed potatoes.
Yep, I totally thought I was putting my dick in the mashed potatoes. Then my brain kicked in.
I'd be impressed if you were able to do it, I'll tell you.
Well, my brain started kicking in front of her. There's also tons of people around, but my brain starts kicking in and telling me like, "Hey, bud, you really like this Beastie Boys song, don't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." I'm like, "Well, you should enjoy it more because you're going to have to give up this conversation with the girl." And I'm like, "Brain, I like this girl. I want to have more fun with this girl." My brain's like, "Well, that's not happening. You're going to have to slowly start nodding off here and enjoy more of the Beastie Boys." But I'm like, "Brain, I don't get to be with girls very often. It's the COVID. We're all COVID tested." Brain's like, "Nah, not having it. You're going to have to pass out." And I look at her, I'm like, did too much K. And then I was out for some indeterminate amount of time.
All right.
The next thing I remember
probably kept you out of trouble.
Probably is waking up I just was downstairs blowing a line of Coke.
Thank
the next
God
thing I remember.
The sentence ended that way.
That's the next thing I remember. Like I don't remember anything between kind of nodding off.
I was prepared for that sentence to end a completely different way.
And being on another level of the house, standing.
This guy's going into
no reaction going down a stairwell.
Who is he hanging with? Where he's hanging with doing
Dude, I don't know any of these people, by the way. Some of these people are from New York. Some of these people are from Vermont. Some of these people, I met some of the greatest people. This kid came from Vermont, by the way.
In my 20s.
He's suddenly a roadie for the Rolling Stones.
Yep. I'm telling you, I have not had a baller party like this since League Street. I have not seen a party like this since League Street. It felt so old school.
Exactly. We were in our 20s.
I woke up in the morning next to my bed with lines of Coke and K laying across like the thing where I was next to. I'm like, what the? Oh, yeah, that's right. I mean, it was out of hand. It was out of hand. But beautiful party, though. It was nice to be with a bunch of people who
we may struggle to get more sponsors.
Everybody was COVID tested. What was that?
I'd love to get the girl that was sitting next to you when your brain told you it was time to pass out. I'd like to interview her.
I would too, because the next morning, the
Call
funny,
this-
you know how you guys have your thing here?
mechanic. I got 1,000 questions for this mechanic.
Go ahead. Okay, hold on. Should I get him
He's
in?
gonna patch him in.
He's
Don't
gonna
call
patch
the-
him in. He's got the
Don't
whole
call the
system
mechanic.
there.
Don't call the mechanic. I don't need to deal with that.
I'll patch him in. He would answer.
I should have guessed that you would call the mechanic if I joked.
I'll call him.
No, I don't need to deal with that.
All right.
As a,
Like I said, the fun thing
We
too
don't
about
need to
being,
put that man on blast. First of all,
I only knew a couple people there. I mean, I knew some people in the wedding party that I'm friends with, through him, but I didn't know most of the
You
people.
definitely didn't know this girl.
Definitely didn't know
That's
this
who I
girl,
want to
yeah.
talk to.
She
I got
was
a feeling
cute
they
and
all know
tubby.
you now.
You know, it was perfect for me.
Did you say
Look,
she
I
was
don't know if I was
tubby?
getting anywhere or
You
not.
sure
I'm-
did.
what he said.
Did he say she was tubby?
Sure
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
He loves that. He loves that.
I do.
Come on.
And I don't mean in a bad way. I mean,
Course
I'm not saying
not.
she was 8,000
I've
pounds.
never-
She
I've
wasn't a
never heard
model.
Somebody.
She was cute and round and really pretty, you know?
There you go.
Well, I like that.
All
That's
right.
my
like
thing.
like a gingerbread man.
Like a gingerbread girl. Yep.
There you go.
Shooting round sounds a lot more normal than to say tubby. That's all.
I mean, tubby in the-
Take it back.
I meant that as
Oh.
a compliment.
Okay.
And look, again, I never saw her again. She left that night. So
So there were no police involved. Everybody got out unscathed. Everybody went about their adult lives.
yep, they had told
Terrific.
the woman ahead of time that, hey, we're going
Everybody
to have
went home.
a little bit more of a party than you normally allow, but here it is. And the
Everybody
woman said
went
no
home
problem.
like grown adults.
Went home.
Yep.
Checks paid the light bill.
Yeah, I didn't have to.
Richard's
Wrote the
laying-
mortgage check.
Yeah, I didn't have to do a
laying
thing.
there the next morning.
I woke up the next morning. I jumped in a
Richard's still
sauna.
there the next morning. Everybody went home.
I jumped in
Paid
a
their
hot tub.
bills. Went back to normal.
Yeah.
Went to their jobs.
Well, no, there was no real normal. I went to work. After a sauna that vaguely made me feel slightly better, and survived it. You know, that's the difference between League Street and now, with all that time removed. I could have woken up after League Street and not cared at all. Now at 47, after living like a Viking for 2 days, and it turns out a hot tub is not quite enough to take
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah, Richard referenced
Stuff out of your body.
The League Street. That was the apartment the three of us lived in.
Yeah, that I'm referencing.
99 to
yeah.
2000.
So I partied like
Yeah.
1999 in 2020 and really felt the repercussions.
with a face full of gray hair.
Yeah, with a face full of gray hair. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I have one too many beers. It takes me 2 days to recover.
Yeah.
Imagine all that.
The thing I didn't take, I think I told you guys off a while back, what was in front of me that I didn't take, thankfully, was mushrooms.
See, now I would have preferred that to all the other jazz.
Well, if I had, that's what I thought too, once I was
I'm
already
going
knee
to
deep.
agree with you on that, JR, and I have to mute for 1 second, but I do agree with you on that.
I figured
If I
you
had
would.
started with the mushrooms, I would have probably been better. But I didn't.
But what
I was,
that does, though, is that lowers your internal voice that keeps you from doing other shit, and you would have done everything in sight.
anyway, right. And there's
Yeah,
nothing
would've been
worse than
nice.
cocktail and mushrooms. They are the
Right.
worst combination ever known
Cannot
to man.
Imagine.
Yeah, not good.
Does anybody want to bust my balls about opening this?
The only combination that's better is vodka.
Not going to bust
Mushrooms
your, but
and
that's
vodka.
that's an amazing beer.
It's a dogfish beer, and I've kind of boycotted dogfish. But
Bourbon barrel aged Palo Santo,
look at the year. Did it say the year on it?
19.
And how is it? I told you the other day to crack it. How is it?
Wait, that's a growler? A crowler?
Growler.
Whatever?
Yeah, it's 12.7% alcohol, and I found it. It was filled at the brewery, right, and it's been sitting in a basement at my old house and here for all this time. And I found it, and I was like, I should probably open this. So I opened it expecting the worst, and boy,
But
was
it's
I-
fine.
It's better than fine. It is crazy. Yeah,
Oh, I
bourbon,
figured
it would have been. That's why I
bourbon
told you
barrel
to open.
aged Palo Santo. It lost a little bit, and I opened this yesterday at some point, and it lost a little bit of carbonation, but it's got big roasty chocolate, vanilla. The barrel is right there. You don't detect any alcohol because it's however old it is, sitting in a crowler. Zero alcohol burn, little caramel. It's unbelievable. The sweetness, the roasty sweetness, really balances out the big bourbon barrel flavor. It's outrageous dogfish. God damn it, these guys make me so mad with their Sam Adams bullshit, and then they're making beer like this. But I do think that this beer was. No, I'm incorrect. Never mind. I'm not even going to say that.
Pre-Sam Adams.
Yeah, but that was probably in the barrel. It was pre-Sam. It was barreled pre-Sam Adams. Yeah.
Was it pre-Boston beer?
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been. Well, I'm glad Richard had himself a time. He needed to go out
like he
and
did.
As a member of the Tonewood crew and a sponsor of the show, we do not condone or endorse the activity of
vodka,
K and blow.
It does make for entertaining stories.
God, it's a great story.
Do it.
And he's so harmless in it too. It's not like he's going out and like he's not making a mess on the streets. He's just staying in this like house and making a fool of himself. So
yes, of course.
So what's
the harm? No one's hurt either.
No one's hurt, right? But
I would totally
except
love to
his pride.
I would love to talk to this girl that was sitting next to him.
He doesn't. He probably can't remember her name. Like I
go to bed.
That sounds like some situation though.
Situation.
I could not be around any of that. I get so weirded out in the presence of drugs that I'm like, it's strange for me.
It's good for you.
What? The drugs are? Or
it's good. No, it's good for you to get weirded out.
Yeah, to be kind of like
if you get excited.
You're Richard. You're living in your parents' basement.
Get excited.
What did he say? He's 47? He's 47. Isn't that a bitch?
Yeah. He's be 48 soon, isn't he?
April.
His birthday's coming up soon.
April,
yeah. JR, speaking of older beers, there was something I pulled it out. I was digging through the closet in there. I pulled it out, but I didn't put it for myself to open tonight. But
gotcha.
I felt like it was definitely time. And I never had it before. And I was interested to know if any of you guys ever had a chance to taste Founder's Lizard of Kaz.
Never heard of it.
I feel like I may have had it.
It's like a blueberry chocolate. It's like an imperial stout with like blueberry and chocolate and vanilla.
Yeah, I've had it.
Came out in like 2004. It's probably like 6 years old.
So it was one of the last beers I put on tap at the store, which makes sense.
Okay.
So that was late 2014, early 2015, I believe.
Yeah, it came out in 14. Yeah, that's what it says on the bottle.
It was good. It was good.
It was called Lizard of Kaz and not Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah.
Lizard of Kaz. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an imperial blueberry stout or something, right?
I pulled it out because I figure it's
with blueberries being indicative of Dorothy, or what is?
I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out why the reference, like why they named it.
I have no idea.
I'm not sure.
Call our founders.
You want me to call the founders
representative? Right? Yeah, go ahead.
She wasn't working for them at that point, was she?
No, she was not. You're right.
Oh shit! Hold on.
We didn't get to what happened in Rob's neighborhood yet.
Yeah, I don't know that's.
I think it is. I don't know.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Another fire, very literally.
You said it, not
dude.
Me.
There's sirens going off, but it's
outside.
It's Santa coming down on the fucking truck.
Oh my God, that is
probably the same guys that were here yesterday putting the fucking fire out for Christ's sake. I just almost had a fucking heart attack.
All I'm saying is a little tone deaf. No.
Wow.
My God.
They thought that was a good idea the next day.
I guess so.
Boys, think about it.
Gentlemen, all I wanted to say is we wish you a Merry Christmas.
Oh no.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
There he is.
We wish you a Merry Christmas from the Jim Crane Show.
There he is.
All right. Well,
and no charge.
Right.
There you go.
Merry Christmas,
well
guys.
done.
No charge for that.
There you go.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
No charge for that, JR.
Not $1.
No, but I'll get it later.
I can't believe they're setting this fire truck down.
I hear it.
Can you explain? I just asked Jay if we haven't even talked about what happened in your neighborhood, and then can you please? Yeah.
Real quick before you do, can I just tell you how happy I'm about the next beer I'm drinking? We're getting the sad stuff.
Absolutely.
Rob Porzic had a house burned down 2 houses down from him yesterday.
I know.
Yeah.
And now
And
Santa,
now they're back here with Santa on the truck.
now Santa's
Look how
driving
happy
the truck down the street.
Do you guys know how happy I am?
That's Leon.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Chamonix
happy.
Creek. There you go.
It is fantastic this year.
What's the ABV on that, Richard?
It is coming in at a whopping. Why am I not seeing it posted? They usually post it.
Cue the Jeopardy theme song.
Oh, 11.6%.
There you go.
Wow.
I said
we
11,
driving home
12,
tonight.
11, 12, and then I mouthed 11.
Yeah. And we lost Alex Trebek this year, right?
Yeah.
We did.
Oh,
yeah.
is that what we're going over? Who we lost? Oh, Jesus.
Well, it's just a recurring.
It's
theme.
been kind of rolling through the.
Who,
I have been through
Go ahead.
so much Alex Van Halen, not music. Like, I mean, I've listened to stuff because in construction of like Van Halen albums and interviews.
Alex is still alive, right?
Yeah, we lost Eddie.
I'm Eddie. Oh, did I say Alex? Wow, that's
You did.
how drunk I am already. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Eddie Van Halen stuff. I mean, I've actually been watching a lot of Alex Van Halen interviews, so that's not wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, we lost Eddie, which is tragic.
Who replaces Alex Trebek?
Big list.
Ryan Egan.
Pardon me. I'm sorry. I was looking at my phone because I got to.
No, I think you're right. Ryan Egan should be the
Ryan
one.
Egan
that
would be a great replacement for Alex Trebek.
Yeah.
I wish I wouldn't take that job because I'm no icon. That guy's an icon, man.
He sure is. Or what?
Here's a question for you, JR, because you keep dancing over this.
Wait. Pre or post mustache, Alex Trebek? Which one do you prefer? Whoa. Because we grew up with mustache, and
Yes,
I'm a mustache Alex Trebek. But he was a cool dude, man. He was a cool cat.
He sure was.
I go with you there. I agree with you there.
Canadian, I
A
believe.
cool customer. I think he is Canadian. Yeah, I believe you're right about that.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. On that.
JR, I have a quick question because we've danced over the Eddie Van Halen thing a couple times now. Where in your mindset,
Oh God.
let's just say 20 years from now, where does, the level of my kids when there are, 20 years, like, or younger than them, or maybe slightly older than them, where does Eddie Van Halen lie? Does Eddie Van Halen lie to the young people the way that Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton and some of those people lay on us?
Going around the room?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Question.
Oh,
I feel like there's a point of disconnect.
I say yes.
You're making too big of a gap too. Like Hendrix was the 60s, so that was only 10 years before we were 12 years before we were born, right? For the most part.
Okay.
Your kid, I mean, Eddie Van Halen was popular in the 80s.
Well, late 70s.
Yeah, but dude, how many kids their age probably listen to Jimi Hendrix though?
Their age? Your kids' age?
Yeah.
Your kids might.
Probably 12. No, I'm saying like in that 12 to 13, 14 range, like my daughter's age. There's a lot of kids that start listening to Jimi Hendrix now.
I'd be shocked.
Yeah, the musicians will.
The musicians, the ones that are playing instruments and that are like learning about music.
He's the next link from Hendrix. He's the next. There's Hendrix and then
definitely feel that way.
Oh, there's nobody between Hendrix and Eddie. It's in innovation world. There's the biggest innovators were Hendrix and then Eddie were your innovators.
I don't disagree.
A lot of other
with
amazing
that.
guitar players.
I'm saying to you, does it hold up?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because here's what he did for music where other more schooled guys didn't. Eddie was the regular guy that did it amazingly well. He's not the guy that went to jazz. Like Trey is the guy that for jazz guys, right? He plays the flat fives, understands jazz, and can play all that schooled stuff, right? That's all the guys we love are mostly schooled players that play amazingly well, right? But they all dance around a certain thing. Eddie was amazingly different from anything else on the planet when he came out.
Oh, definitely.
Nobody, and besides just tapping, because everybody knows he didn't invent tapping, but he did take tapping to a new level. But it wasn't
a whole
just
new
that.
level.
It was his rhythm playing, and he wrote really good songs. And it turned out he played really good piano, and he changed guitar tone, and he changed, the way people thought of guitars. I mean, it was this complete package. It was just people looked at him and went, who is this alien? He did everything completely differently than anybody else. All the really schooled guys that could play really well turned around to Eddie and went, oh shit, what the, they all
he wasn't a very big schooled person either.
No, I mean, he understood enough theory. Like he talked about, like
enough,
he learned to read because he had such good ears, and Alex learned to read much better than he did. But he had these amazing ears. But at the same point, he could talk his way through theory. Like, he would, he could figure out chords and he could do all that, but I mean, he didn't play like a schooled player. He played like a regular guy in a much more advanced way, like just these incredible natural abilities. And he chalks it up to just being poor. Like he didn't have all the effects pedals, or there weren't that many of them, but he didn't have any of that. So he just made it up on the guitar. He said, like, that first guitar, he made that guitar because that didn't exist. There weren't Fender Stratocasters. Anybody doesn't know what that is? It's the kind of guitar that Jimi Hendrix played most commonly. There was no such thing as a Fender Stratocaster with what's called a humbucker, which is a certain kind of pickup you'd see in another guitar like a Les Paul or an SG. Les Paul is what Jimmy Page plays. Okay, those pickups, the things to pick up the sound, did not go in Fender Strat. So Eddie just bought a body called a boogie body, which is what Charvel guitars used at the time, for like $80, and didn't know what he was doing, and just carved out the wood and put one of these things and directed it right to the body. And that was it. And hand painted that thing and put a neck on it and started playing it. And people went, oh. And that affected guys like Andy Sumners from The Police. Almost immediately after that, put a humbucker in the neck of his Telecaster that he used through The Police the whole time. Like, all these,
I'm not denying anything you're saying, just so you know.
Rock Forzik definitely knows how to get Richard to get shot out of a cannon.
No, but I just
I'm saying I'm definitely not denying anything that he's putting down right now. I'm picking right back up. Like, I agree with him 110%.
But Rob's question is the wondering of whether or not,
I think they will.
Will his existence carry on to the realm of a Jimi Hendrix or an Eric Clapton or someone of that level? I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't think so.
I love him to death. I respect him as a musician. I love all of his music. I think he was a great guitar player. To me, yes, he will carry on that way, but I don't know.
I think it's the body of work, right?
Looking back, I don't know
all that out of it.
Look at him in that light.
But
what
why,
about the
though?
songs? What
I
about
don't know.
Music?
I don't know.
I
just
hits
feel
too,
like
right?
hit a level of area with music nowadays, and in the last, say, 20 years, where people just don't care anymore.
Well, that's a problem.
Unless there is a Netflix documentary that makes people like me who don't know about this stuff care.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't see how there's going to be that much appreciation for the things that you guys are discussing right now.
Right.
Because
there you go. See, that's my point.
Because
Hendrix?
But I was just about to say, here's why Hendrix was iconic. Hendrix was, and not that Van Halen doesn't have some, but he gets lumped in with all these other bands that were happening at the same time. I feel like Van Halen. I just kind of feel like Van Halen falls into this category of, like, the band Van Halen falls into the category of, like,
they became kind of a caricature of themselves.
The way that AC/DC is, like, almost laughable now.
Right.
Like, looking back at AC/DC with the dumb hat and the
all the shenanigans, with Van Halen between the singers and all the nonsense, and Gary Sharon and all the nonsense. Like, it's just
like that.
So
you don't take it seriously.
I knew Richard was going to say you love that record.
You know it.
I like that Gary Sharon record. I don't hate that record at all.
Can you guys hear the Jimi Hendrix playing?
No.
You can't hear that. I can only hear that. Ain't that a bitch?
I guess so.
That's good to know, though. When I'm on meetings,
when
I can play my music and
earbuds in, and
No, but I think you did lay a fascinating question, Rob, as to how will the future look upon the past of maybe any of these players, by the way, because you are saying Jimi Hendrix, but Jimi Hendrix is a laughable name now, like Bob Marley, right? And I say laughable in the way that people say it and don't understand it, right?
Yes.
He's just a utility name for the greatest guitar player. But they don't understand why Hendrix is so good
anymore.
But most people's interaction with Hendrix is watching him light his guitar on fire on the stage.
Right.
Was that Newport or was
Monterey
that
Pop Festival?
That was Monterey. That's what I meant to say.
Yep.
It was Monterey Pop Festival, right? And that's what everyone's going to remember him kind of voodoo dancing around it and like
that's Jay's point about Van Halen
invoking the flames. And I think that Van Halen kind of fought, but
that was a mistake too. By the way, that was a mistake.
What, him burning that guitar?
He didn't mean to. He didn't. As far as I know, he didn't mean to do that. I think I just read about this recently. He didn't mean to do that. He spilled lighter fluid on his guitar, and I think I think the story that I just read said that there was like a cigarette ash that hit it and lit his guitar on fire, and he just ran.
No, not at Monterey, dude. He totally lit it. If you watch it,
he's on fire. He did it on purpose.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he sprays the lighter fluid on it and lights it on fire. He kisses it.
What I was
he lights it on fire.
You know who owns that?
He literally kisses the guitar before he sacrifices it.
The burned guitar, somebody owns it?
Oh, it's functional and playing right now. It went to Frank Zappa, and then Frank Zappa had it put back together, and then Frank Zappa...
You are correct on that.
He gave it to his son, Dweezil Zappa. Dweezil Zappa since had it moved a couple times and now had it restored. Yeah.
But again, like...
Speaking of Zappa...
It wasn't until recently that I became... I was going to say, I haven't until recently become aware of Zappa. And Zappa falls under this whole conversation that we're having.
Oh right now. Zappa's definitely in that. Yes,
brilliant Zappa's genius, and yet unless you're going to have a whole bunch of like
amazing guitar player.
Yeah,
and he definitely. There's people that like Zappa, and there's people that don't.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely falls under that. But speaking of Zappa, Richard, I have one question for you.
Go ahead,
because I was going to put this on the music thread last night because it is on my radar. And especially right now, as we're getting into this next week and a half here of the holidays of just sitting around and doing, Jack Zero.
Yeah.
Has anybody watched the Zappa documentary that Alex Winter put out? I think it was the week of Thanksgiving.
In my queue.
It's going in my queue, and I'm watching it before New Year's.
I've heard good and bad about it. And bad not in the worst way. The only bad I've heard about it is
glowing reviews.
Not bad the way I'm.
How can it not be glowing reviews? Half the stuff he used, you've never even seen before.
The stuff in there,
I got access to the vault.
I heard it's very
heard glowing reviews.
No, I'm saying I heard it's very Mothers of Invention heavy, and then they kind of skip over this. Well, I mean, I love Apostrophe and Joe's Garage in the 70s.
Well, yeah, me too.
They skip over a lot of that. They really, it's very Mothers of Invention heavy, and then the very end is about the 70s on. So look, that's not bad because the Mothers of Invention are brilliant and deserve their own documentary. So that's why I didn't mean to say bad, but the documentary leans hard on Mothers of Invention.
Apostrophe and like Overnight
Sensation are hardly covered. Yeah,
Joe's Garage, like those are all great. I'd love to dig.
Those are my two favorite. Apostrophe and Overnight Sensation. They're like they are the Revolver and Rubber Soul. I think for him.
I agree.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Will that change the way people feel about Frank Zappa because there's a documentary? I just said like until somebody makes a documentary on Netflix about Eddie Van Halen that makes people like me care about it.
Right.
Like, is this gonna like that? I guess that's my like going back to the original question that Rob had about Van Halen. Like, I'm going to relate it to the beer world. There's too many breweries opening up, right?
Right. Like, nobody cares.
And each brewery has too many beers and and there's just too much. There's too much competition. There's just too much to consume, whether it's music or beer, right? Like you walk into a store and that store could be Spotify or that store can be your liquor store. Right. And you're overwhelmed by the number of options that are presented to you to the point where it's almost crippling to like, you're just going to keep falling into the same 10 songs or 10 albums or 10 artists.
Oh my God, you're so right.
And your 10 breweries and 10 beers and 10. Boom. Okay, I know that one. I take that one.
Yeah, you couldn't be more right about that.
Well, in our group, I mean, like, Rob and Jay are the best.
Is anyone going to care about the winter beer that Rob already drank and Jay has in his basement?
No.
Even though it's Or are they right?
I feel like people probably don't even know that beer anymore.
That's-
Egan. I think JR would probably agree with me on that. People probably don't even know that beer.
Nobody knows that beer.
There's people that are
exists.
going to listen to this that have no idea what we're talking about.
Or who
No,
Zappa is,
Staldus?
or who gives a shit about Van Halen. Like, that's my point, I guess. Is
And all
that
that being said,
it's just
they
like
probably tuned out an hour ago.
Exactly.
well,
there's a-
if they tuned in ever.
I think it's
Or correct, sir.
gentleman from PRS Guitars that makes PRS Guitars. But if somebody's wrong, I don't know, put it in the comments section or yell at me later.
Yeah.
But the idea is very,
Nobody
and other
comments on
people have
anything
said
they
it.
say.
The principle is, who's the next guitar hero, right? And I've seen this in a couple places. There isn't, is the answer. There's no
There isn't.
Jimmy
No,
Page or
there
Eddie
isn't.
Van Halen or Alex, and it's not because there
Not
aren't
John Mayer?
amazing. No, here's the thing. It's the point of the article isn't because there aren't amazing players. There isn't this thing where people have this hero worship like they used to, because
Exactly.
there isn't a music scene built on
Right.
that kind of thing. And also how we digest music is so much different than the way they did then. So
Yep.
the premise of a guitar hero is almost dead, right? I mean, John Mayer is every bit as good as Eric Clapton was, or any of these other people were. He has the same talent and skill and all that stuff. I mean, we can
Derek
debate
Trucks is just as good as probably as
Ray
Dwayne
Anastasia,
or
right?
Yeah.
Jimmy Herring.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go through the list of amazing guitar players that are worthy of being a guitar hero, but that kind of thing isn't there, right? Fish is just as popular as Led Zeppelin ever was, right? They've sold out hundreds of concerts, played in front of hundreds of thousands of people. You know, there's all that, but Trey will never be the guitar hero that Jimmy Page was.
Zeppelin was in the top 10. They had like Billboard hits and shit. Fish never really.
But I mean,
Right.
look, let's talk about grossing concerts and popularity. Hundreds
Oh,
of
you talk
thousands
about
of fans. I
popularity
mean,
back
a
then.
fan
It's a
base
different
that's
animal.
so dead. But you get my point. I mean, we can name a million guys that are as popular as some of these people were, right?
And you can name a lot of. Go ahead, Ian.
But using the examples that we've used earlier today, which is Hendrix and Van Halen, like, do guitar heroes necessarily have to be innovators as well? Do they have to bring something new to the instrument itself to become a guitar hero?
No.
Playing is not enough, it feels like. Hendrix was a personality in addition to being wildly talented, and he was playing a left-handed. He was right-handed playing, or he was left-handed playing a right-handed guitar that was strung backwards. Right? Wasn't that the situation? I mean, he was doing things that were like your brain doesn't process, like normal people's brains don't process the way that his mind worked that guitar.
Clapton I just heard this story because Clapton just talked about it on a documentary I was watching. When he plugged in, there's a story about when he's in England very early, when he first goes over with Chaz Chandler, brings him and sends him and says, hey, I want you to, they're going in some club in London and Cream are playing there. And he says, hey, I want my guy, Jimi Hendrix, to sit in. And he sits in with Cream and plugs in. At that point, all over London were these things, Clapton is God. And Clapton was the biggest guitar player in London. He was worshipped, and deservingly so, because Clapton is amazing. I love Clapton too. When Hendrix plugged in at the end of that jam, Eric Clapton says he literally almost quit guitar playing because he said, you can say I'm good, and he rattles off a couple other names of guitar players that are Jeff Beck, that are really good, but this guy is unlike anything on the planet.
Right.
And he goes, it crushed him for a while. It really got to his internal feeling about it as a player. He just, how do you overcome that when you see a guy that's, so different and you're already amazing?
Hold on. I'm coming back to something. So the reason that he played that guitar strung that way was that he couldn't afford one for a left-handed person.
Right. And they're very rare, especially
and
that.
Eddie Van Halen attributes being poor to coming up with the innovations that
they were foreign. Well, they were
all I'm saying is that you've got two examples of people that have raw talent that have had to overcome
being the mother of invention.
Exactly. Yes. So I'm wondering if the next guitar hero is somebody that we haven't heard of because They are literally stringing their own guitar together.
He doesn't have internet access.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He's not following us on Instagram and Facebook.
And it could be a guy that nobody's paying attention to now. Again, because the music, like you guys have already said too, and I think Rob and Jay are better than me and you, Ryan, at this than anybody. Those two look for way more new music than you and I do. Right. I still go through a lot of older stuff that I need to go through and tapes and stuff. These two are always showing me like, hey, did you guys check out this new thing yet?
I'm listening.
I'm listening
to Sierra Nevadas of the world is what I'm doing. It's
right.
I love when I start
happy.
listening to something and I'll send it to JR and he's like, yeah, dude.
What do you know about this?
For like a year. It's great.
Right. But there are guys out there.
How do you know about this? How do you know about this?
I'll send you. You know what?
And vice versa. He'll do the same thing to me, and I'll be like, "Yeah, I've been listening to that for like a year."
If I do that to him, if I do that to him, again, it's the expectation thing, right? Like you're supposed to be watching Fish, so no one cares that I'm not watching because I'm not supposed to be watching.
Yeah.
But like, if I do that to him, where I send him something, he's like, he doesn't say how do you. He's like, "Attaboy." Look at you. Look at you is what he does to me.
We should on the Instagram page, because I just put it together today before we got on here, my top 20 albums of 2020 I put together today.
I refuse to engage in this with Spotify. You would hate it. I would hate it.
Well, no, I didn't. Like Spotify made its version for me
of actual albums that came out this year.
Albums that came out in 2020 that I absolutely adore. I whittled it down. Yeah, I've got 20. I got 20 bangers, man. I guess
you got me beat. I don't even think I've listened to 20 albums that came out this year.
Maybe I'll put it on the. Maybe I'll put it on the Instagram.
We can put it on the Very Busy group
or the Instagram. Yeah, maybe I'll put it on there just to.
Have you guys been checking out? Have you guys listened to XPN? I've been in the car a lot. You're at home, but XPN's been doing the top 1,000.
I saw what they've been doing, the top 2020 songs or whatever. Yeah. No, I found out about it way too late because now I heard they're on in like the last 200.
They were under 200 today. Yeah, it'll be done tonight probably.
I mean, do we know?
Oh, they're under 100 already?
We know what these songs are.
They were in the 200s. They were in the 200s this morning, so they should be under 100 at this point.
I applaud their efforts for trying to do something, but
no, they were at 200 this morning, so they went under 200 right after they were at 200. So
they finish it. They do the same thing. Do this all the time. Well, not all the time. They do it every few years.
It's probably the last 5 songs are probably the same.
It's the same shit. And they program it so it ends at 5 o'clock on Friday during drive time with David Dye, and they do the whole they build it up to be something, and it's fucking Thunder Road. Yeah, no shit. No shit. The top 10 is Bruce
so it's not Billie Eilish,
which I still don't understand.
It's just nonsense.
Tell me that Thunder Road is
it's just nonsense, and I haven't listened to a minute of it because XPN's on my shit list. I haven't listened to a minute of it, but I follow Julian Booker, who's he's one of the DJs and he's the man.
It's one thing I don't get into. I can't. You can't convince me that a Springsteen song is the best song ever written ever.
I mean, I get why I get the fanaticism.
I get that it's good. I get that it deserves to be in the top 10. The number one, sorry, can't agree.
It's because we're here. If they did that same 2020 in Seattle, Bruce Springsteen wouldn't be on the list. But because we're here. It's every third song.
I know.
Is when
it's annoying,
and I can't. And they've done this now. They did the top 5 of all time twice, and now they're doing this 2020 thing, and it's the same songs. And now they can add like Brandi Carlile because she's been around for 10 minutes, and they can add this other chick that's been around that they get out of, that they go bananas over. All these ladies that they go nuts for. That I roll my eyes and like, guys, get a hold of yourselves. But yeah, I mean, it's cool that they're doing it. I get it. And people are enjoying it. And for fuck's sake, anything people get enjoyment out of now, I'm all about. But I turned it on, and like the 3 songs I heard, I turned it on while I was in the shower. That's why I love listening to music in the shower. Put it on. And the 3 songs I heard, I was like, come on, man. Ugh. I don't remember what they were, but I took a screenshot of it and sent it to my buddy Jason Clark. And I'm like, I can't listen to this. I can't do it.
If you're saying this, then I'm glad that I haven't witnessed
now at this point, tomorrow's Friday. The countdown's going to end. It's going to be 5 o'clock. It's going to end, and you know what those songs are. You know it. You know we could rattle them off. You know what they are. As a matter of fact,
I caught
It's
Scarlet
Thunder
Road.
Begonias,
I didn't
so
listen.
I was really excited.
I have the playlist on my Spotify from the first time they did their top 500, and I feel like I could pull it up and I could read you the top 10 and it'll be identical. I guarantee it. Let me see.
Right. You could be right.
Thunder
Thunder Road's definitely probably on there. I'm not even going to deny.
Oh, dude, it's going to be number one, or
Yeah.
it's either that or it's Day in the Life. There'll be 1 and 2.
And Stairway somewhere
And
right
Stairway
there.
will be number
And
3.
like
Why
last 4 or
Stairway?
5.
Wait,
All the
what about-
Zeppelin songs, for fuck's sake, Jesus
I'm
Christ.
with you.
Jamaica was my favorite.
Let's see.
I would take that over Stairway any day. And by
Yeah.
the way, Stairway in
Not
context
even-
of
not
Zeppelin
even
4,
respond.
Damn
Great.
it, I don't have their top 500 playlist. I thought I did. I have the KEXP
Yeah.
top 500 playlist. I don't have the XPN. Oh well. There
I'm
goes
going to tell you what made me happy. And I know I put in a
What's
thread.
the top 5 on that playlist?
on
go ahead.
KEXP.
I thought like a Rolling Stone was
Top 5 all
top,
time.
a top all
Top
time.
5 all time. Go ahead, read them off.
In order. Let me see here. It would be. Let me go all the way down to the bottom here.
Go ahead.
Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Read 'em
7,
off.
8, 9, 10. How Soon Is Now by the Smiths. London
Okay.
Calling by the Clash.
All right.
Okay.
Wake Up by Arcade Fire.
Mhm.
Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley.
Wow.
Where Is My Mind by the Pixies. Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana.
Okay.
Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
All
Love
right.
Will Tear Us Apart by Joy Division. This Must Be the
Never-
Place by Talking Heads.
Okay.
And Norwegian Wood is the number 1 song.
By
This
the
must
Beatles?
be the place.
Yeah, I
Hold
like
on.
that.
This must be the place is number 2
Yep.
of all
Talking-
time.
That
Of
was
all time in Seattle.
by the way,
I
I heard
don't
that
hate that list.
I heard that live today or yesterday when I was driving around.
My
in the-
wife's
it was in
favorite
the
Talking Head song. It's a great song. I'm just saying,
And
number 2
For
of all
XPN,
time.
for XPN, it's number 300.
187
Yeah,
or something.
But for it's funny because it's the KEXP
Well, it's also-
top 500 songs of all time.
The
And
XPN
that's
is
number 2 to
is
them.
the XPN is voted on by the members, so you have to
So was
pay
this.
for the
It
privilege.
was the same
yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the same thing. Because KEXP is XPN in Seattle, but infinitely cooler.
Okay.
They're
That's
like
why-
they're
Smells Like Teen Spirit makes the top 10.
well, I mean, it has to. It has.
Well, it
you
has
know
to because
that.
you're in Seattle. So
Well,
I
that's
wasn't
what-
shocked when it was on there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if we go top 20, I mean, now you're talking Just Like Heaven by The Cure, Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead, The Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen, Heroes by Bowie, Do You Realize Flaming Lips, Bohemian Rhapsody, Paranoid Android,
Ooh,
Fugazi,
Put that in there.
Waiting Room by Fugazi. Yeah.
nice.
Oh, no, wait, I skipped one. All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix.
Hmm.
But it's Seattle. That's
Yeah.
pretty strong.
Yeah,
Jimmy.
But that list is infinitely cooler, I think, than the
I think so.
all of the goofy
I would
singer
agree.
songwriters that XPN trots out every minute. They've really just irritated me. I used to listen to them nonstop, man, nonstop. But it's like, dude, I listen to Julian Booker on the weekends. He does his Sleepy Hollow bit, and it's great. Sunday mornings from like 8 to 11. It's awesome.
I can't get into that.
I love it. I love him. He's
It's too
awesome.
mellow
He's very
for me.
eclectic, and he plays all kind of great jazz and stuff. But I got into a conversation with him via direct message on Twitter about a month ago because he played some Coltrane, and I sent him a text or a DM on Twitter. I was like, I got to tell you, it really burns my ass that here in Philadelphia, we don't have a full-time jazz radio station. So thank you, my friend,
Sing
for
it.
stepping to the plate and playing some goddamn John Coltrane on a Sunday morning. And he goes, you know what you wouldn't believe? And he's like, without fail.
He's
And
like,
not some
I'm
of the
losing my
time.
job, and it's not because
No,
of
he
COVID.
goes, and not some of the time, and not some of the time, but every single time I play a John Coltrane song on this radio show, on a Sunday morning between 8 and 11, the studio phone rings, and he picks it up, and it's someone complaining that he's playing jazz
What?
and John Coltrane. He says every single time.
Fuck
So
those people.
I saw his tweet the other day where he played Coltrane in the middle of the day, and he was like, I'm cringing because I'm playing Coltrane for the countdown and waiting for the studio phone to ring and have someone complain, because they always do that whenever I play Coltrane on Sunday mornings. I get a complaint every Sunday. And he said it to me in a DM. We talked about it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. He's like, no, it's every time I do it. Not just once or twice or coincidence. Every time I play Coltrane, someone calls and complains and asks why I'm playing it, and it's too much, and please turn it off.
Well, let's be honest, man. I totally agree with you. We've never had the only jazz station I remember ever listening to here is at a Temple University.
So there was a time when we were kids that
Friday nights.
Well, 90.1 WRTI in Temple was a full-time jazz radio station, and some
Friday nights they had that show. The Bridge.
We have donated donated a car to WRTI in this household.
It is called The Bridge, and it's
Bridge. Bridge isn't on anymore now.
It is on every Friday night at 10 a.m.
It's still on?
At 10 p.m. I have the app on my phone. I listen to it.
Oh, I got to get the app then, because I would love to listen to The Bridge, man. I haven't listened to The Bridge in forever.
It brings you right back. But they were a full-time jazz station for the longest time.
I remember being in your shithole of a fucking vehicle on a Friday night, getting done just work.
Cruising. Yeah.
And we'd fucking throw the Bridge on, go over to fucking Bridge, go to the clubs on a fucking Friday night, dude.
Crazy. So much fun. Much fun. But
we'd kick that on because it would usually start around 8, 9 o'clock. And it would be like right as we were getting ready to close the store.
Yep. And he goes now from 10 to 2 a.m. So I put it on every Friday night when I go to bed. But they were full-time jazz, and they turned to half classical, half jazz. I mean, probably 20 years ago at this point. And that really burned my ass, because now there's they play classical all day, which I guess some people dig.
Which, by the way, also bad that you don't have a full-time classical station in its town that's also known for classical. Both should have their own station.
How in the world do we not? But if you have the app for WRTI, right at the top, there's 2 big bars that says jazz, classical, and you can click on which one you want, and that's the only content you'll see.
Nice.
It's the jazz or the classical stuff. So that's all I see is the jazz stuff.
Good to know.
But it's but how in the world does Philadelphia, where Philly Joe Jones is from, where McCoy Tyner's from, where John Coltrane is from, the Brecker brothers, you name it, there's a million of them that have come out of the city, and we don't have a full-time job.
Harvey Mason's right down the street from Atlantic City.
Come on, Sun Ra, the Sun Ra house in West Philly. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
It just it really burns my ass, especially in my older years, as all I listen to is jazz,
Jimmy Smith.
Pretty much at this point. Jimmy Smith,
yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to disagree with you there at all, my friend.
My number one, Spotify put your 2020 Wrapped out. My number one genre was modern contemporary independent jazz. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently that was my number one genre that I listened to in 2020.
You've sent me some burning jazz. That shit out of England you've been sending me is great, dude.
Dude, the UK is on some shit right now with jazz.
Yeah.
It's on another level, because they've managed to take all of the stuff we loved about all that old classic bebop and straight ahead jazz and mix it with like electronic kind of sensibilities without selling out either side, blending them perfectly. And
like, it doesn't sound like house music with jazz. It just sounds like very innovative jazz.
There's a dude, the dude Shabaka Hutchings. That's the guy. He's running shit. And Nubia Garcia. Oh my Lord God in heaven. Those two and their bands, everyone in both of their bands they're all band leaders, and they all have their own band. So it's just like endless, like it was in the 50s and 60s with Blue Note. All the sidemen were leaders on their own projects. So you can just fall down the rabbit hole. It's what happened in the UK right now. It's outrageous. That's all I listen to.
Give me the call letters again for that station. W what?
WRTI. And what did you say again? You donated a car to WRTI, did you?
Yeah, when they do those member drives.
Oh, yeah.
So my wife had an Isuzu Rodeo that she drove from California to New Jersey, and then when she got here, it literally almost died we drove across the country together. And it made it here, and then it just needed we put some work into it. But then when we bought the house, we got her, even before we bought the house, we got her a Subaru, and we just had an extra car lying around that we didn't need.
Donate to the radio station.
We were like, well, we'll donate it. So they put it up for auction, and then all the money that they get, they put to the radio station.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
It felt good. I don't know what we're gonna do with an extra car.
Yeah, really.
Two of us.
Put it on blocks in your property.
Yeah. So
Can I tell you what's given me
It's a great
such
car.
joy in 2020? Oh, sorry, your car.
Go ahead, Richard.
It's a great car.
So I've told you guys, and it's brought up a bunch of times on the station. It's led to another thing that's given me tons of joy. That's Rick Beata, right? Is what's made this song great and all the other things he does, which are brilliant, right?
I've been watching it.
I think I showed you guys because we haven't done it since the show. He did Waste. What makes the song great?
I didn't see that yet.
Okay, well, he does Waste with just Trey and Paige doing it together solo.
Right.
This beautiful version.
It's a recent version that was just put out on Instagram.
Yeah. Right, which is put on Instagram, right. And I've been saying, for how long I've been saying, like, man, I felt like I knew him from somewhere else and I couldn't figure out why. And I didn't want to do a ton of research because I love that magic when you just discover what it is rather than looking it up on the internet. And it's you know you're going to find it sooner or later.
That's how I operate with samples. Yep.
Right, with samples, right. You know you're just going to pop in one day, right? And all of a sudden he's talking about it and he goes, yeah, I was up in the farm, up in the, with that little place they work at where Fish works out at.
The barn, yeah.
The barn, the barn. He worked on Shine. He was supposed to work on Bar 17, ended up working in Shine instead. And I'm like, oh shit, my 1A of favorite Trey records.
That's a great one.
Of course he worked on that. Naturally, I realized it because he's actually known as a nu metal guy. Yeah, that's where his hits came out of. But when you listen to him talk, I mean, obviously he's into Stevie Wonder and all the shit we love. And I'm going, well, obviously he's not a dum-dum. So he's into really cool shit. He's got perfect pitch and he plays all these instruments. And you watched a couple of the things that are great. So obviously we knew he liked stuff. But I'm thinking, I knew I had read his name somewhere and I knew it wasn't nu metal. So it had to have popped on a record I liked. He engineered Shine. And Shine sounds really good.
It does.
It's a great sounding record, like everything about it. I remember when I was reading what Trey was talking about that record, like Trey had done a bunch of things differently than he had done before working on that record. So, boom. I was like, damn, I knew I liked this guy.
Yeah, that's a great series. It's on YouTube. It's called What Makes This Song Great. And I just pop it on and I'm always like, wow, holy shit.
He just didn't. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm, whatever. Go ahead.
He just did an innovative one about Beethoven. He was talking about Beethoven's Ninth. And if anybody's knowing about Beethoven was deaf. By the time he was about 26, he was almost deaf. By the time he wrote Beethoven's Ninth, he was deaf, but he had perfect pitch. So if anybody knows anything about perfect pitch, people with perfect pitch can also hear the pitch in their head. They can sort of see it. So he was sort of imagining what he would have imagined Beethoven's Ninth, that ninth that piece.
Yeah.
Like he had never heard that piece of music at all.
Right.
Like anybody out there, just go pick just type in Beethoven's Ninth, any movement, doesn't matter. They're all beautiful. Type it, put it up, or pick up pretty much any Beethoven. It doesn't matter. And
I think I actually heard it yesterday.
Yeah. This man did not hear a lick of that music. He just looked at paper and heard the notes in his head, wrote them down, and then people played them without him ever hearing what they sounded like.
Huh.
Yeah, that was fascinating.
Did he also conduct that deaf?
Nope. He never conducted any of them, I don't think.
He never conducted?
No, I think
he wasn't like standing up there like leading them, even though he was...
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he never conducted them. Okay. But where I was leading to with Rick Beata is he led me to another person that I'm very in love with that I have to give a shout out to that I have fallen down the rabbit hole of. And his name is Rhett Scholl. And I'm going to send you links tonight to this gentleman. Rhett Scholl is sort of a Nashville session guy who has a great channel. And I have learned so much from Rhett Scholl about, I'm just a geek for guitars and tech and, all that techie stuff and tone and all that stuff. I've learned so much from him. But more than that, he put a pandemic band together. And his pandemic band is so fucking good. They do a reinterpretation. We were talking about Hendrix. That's what made me think of it earlier when I wanted to bring this up. Of Hendrix tunes that is mind-blowing, they do them they're in a beautiful way with, by paying homage to them without, ruining them and or without just covering them the way a cover band would.
Do they change Do they change the timestamp, or are they changing the key, or what are they doing that's different?
Yeah, slightly different feels. Yeah, just slightly different feels, that kind of thing. They also do, in one of the ones I'm going to send you, they do Ain't No Sunshine into Air of Tonight. They do a lot of jamming, by the way. Air into Air Tonight. And both of those are neither in a feel that you're going to expect. They're just brilliant. And he is such a great guitar player. You know, he fits right in my mind the way a guitar player like where I like. You know, he's not a super shredder. He's not a what, I don't know. He's just brilliant. He's somewhere like between like Trey and the Edge. You know what I mean? He's really good with effects. You know, so he's good at getting that kind of a thing, and then he could turn right around and just be dry like Rich Robinson or something. You know, he's an amazing rhythm player. And I learned so much from Rhett Scholl. He's just, I don't know. He's great. He does a lot of stuff out on tour, like tour vlogs while he's out, and just another channel that, you know, I got hooked into. And they're friends. So, I mean, they appear on each other's channels together a lot. So that's sort of how I found them. But I always like to shout these guys out, and they deserve a little thing. They make me, it's like my new TV.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm going to grab a beer real fast, but I just thought I was looking at my phone, and I was looking at some stuff that I've listened to recently, and I'm curious to ask JR his top 20 for 2000. I want to see there is albums now that I've realized out of 2020 that I've listened to that I hold very near and dear, and I want to see if they're on his top 20 list. I'm grabbing a beer while he's vacated here real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm coming back to ask him that question.
Go ahead.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Go ahead. If you should do this when you're done tonight. If you want to watch an interesting cover band, Ryan,
yes,
go. I'll shoot you a link.
Not gonna lie, I'm gonna be watching football because I've got fantasy football.
I didn't mean tonight, literally, but I mean I'm gonna shoot you a link if you're just looking for something like in a car you want to drive around and listen to it, because they start out like a cover band.
Yeah,
and they're a great. It's a lot of blues too. So if you like blues too,
what's it called? I'm grabbing a pen.
If you look up the name, his name is Rhett, Rhettett Scholl, Shul. Rhett Scholl.
Sounds like a blues name, Richard.
Yeah, they do a lot of blues. He does another night with a guy named oh god, I can't think of the guy who he tours with. I probably should have wrote that down. It made life so much simpler. This is where prepared people. So I watch these shows too, and I see these guys that are so good at this. First of all, they do a lot of editing, which is
definitely
great.
You can tell
they edit a lot. Yeah, I cannot think of the guy he goes out with.
Scholl.
Rhett RhettSchull''. Rhett Scholl. Rhett Scholl.
There you go.
JR, can I ask you a question?
Sure. I feel like we should start the process of wrapping up, but go ahead.
Well, I'm definitely down for wrapping up, and there was some things I was
looking back on. It takes us a half hour to do that.
I know. There were some things I went back and I was looking at when you walked away, and I'm curious. I'm gonna spout off a couple of my favorite albums for the year, and I want to see if they're on your 20. I want to see if they're on your 20.
It's possible. Oh, I know at least one, but go ahead.
Is A Beautiful Revolution Part 1 on your top 20?
No.
By Common.
It is not. It did not make my cut. I've listened to it
really?
A bunch. Yeah, but it didn't make my cut.
All right.
So a lot of music that man does.
Okay.
It didn't make my cut. I love that album though. That is great.
That's a great album. It's a great album. Let me see. I'm thinking this had to have, because you told me to check it out. I'm thinking that the two Salt albums have to be on that.
Singing the same thing. Salt's got to be on there, right?
Yeah, I believe they are number 1 and maybe number 5. I believe.
Okay.
The One Rise, I believe, is number 1, and Black Is, I think, is number 5. I should pull it up while we're talking about it. But yeah, I don't know if you saw this on Spotify. They do this thing where they give you your top albums for this month last year. So for me, it's like your top albums last December.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting. It is Pet Sounds in mono for some reason. I was hot on.
Oh, I want to see that.
Because it got released in mono on vinyl, and I remember me and you going back and forth. We both were listening to it on Spotify because the vinyl was a little too pricey, and we didn't want to.
Yeah. How about
I do remember us having that conversation like a couple of dorks on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. Well, in that same vein as Blood Sugar Sex Magic, because you probably bought it and I didn't have it, and I was irritated that you probably bought it on vinyl.
I've had it on vinyl for a while. You probably played that because in December is when the Chili Peppers announced that John Frusciante
That's probably why.
was back in the fold, but we got nothing out of it because of COVID.
Right. Alice in Chains Unplugged is on my list from back in December
of last
year. And
you're getting close. You just actually almost got very close to one of the albums I was going to mention.
The Later Years by Pink Floyd was released. No, go ahead. What was it?
Rob,
Pearl Jam Unplugged. I mean, I know it's not a 2020 release. I know it's not a 2020 album, but it was released in 2020.
I did not put that, but I do have Gigaton on mine.
Gigaton should be on there too. That was my. Those were the next two I was getting ready to say.
Gigaton is on my list for sure because I listened to the shit out of that album when it came out, and for that first April, May, June. Oh my god!
What about the new
today? It's amazing.
What about the new Fish album that came out this year?
So when I first
Sigma Oasis has to be on there.
Sigma Oasis,
when I first put this list together, that was back in like October. That was on the list.
It worked its way off.
It worked its way off, and I'll tell you.
And Common's not on there.
Right, I'll tell you what jumped in its spot and jumped into the top 5 at like a meteor. Is the new Jerry Garcia release.
Oh yeah,
You know what? I didn't even think about that, but that is very, very. That's. I've been listening to a lot of that the last 2 weekends.
My God. That I took last weekend or 2 weekends ago was my annual drive down to Baltimore on Friday. Stay for 5 minutes and drive back. Drive down to Baltimore on Sunday. Stay for 5 minutes and come back. Literally like 8 hours of windshield time. And I rocked that Jerry Garcia album. Oh my God. So it propelled itself because I just love every single thing about it. It propelled itself into the top 5 for me.
It's very the one thing I thought was really interesting on it is very heavily jazz oriented. I felt like,
I love it.
And the thing that I really, really, really dug about it is Jerry lays way back in the cut on it. I feel like until it's time for him to take the helm. And then when he takes the helm, you're like, holy shit. And then he just backs right back off again.
Oh, you mean because he's in a band with people that know how to support themselves, and then he can just come out solo?
Richard. That's the thing. He's playing in a jazz group, so it's like he, and as being an amazing musician and how great he is at what he does, and he recognizes where his place is, and he also does not have to be Jerry Garcia, icon, Grateful Dead guy. Right. He can just be a guy in the band that steps into the limelight every couple songs and rips a solo and can lay in the back and like. There were times when Richard, I don't know if you've heard this release. You've got to put this release on.
I haven't, but I don't think that's such an uncommon thing from a lot of Jerry Garcia band stuff, where Jerry's more plays a lot of support.
No, this is very different, though.
Very different.
But I mean, I think when Jerry's not with the Dead, he plays a lot of supporting role and then takes a solo as appropriate.
No, I definitely agree with you on this one. In this case, it's very, very, very different, dude. I
can't wait to put it on.
So this band at some point goes into like a double time swing. Like they rip it, and you're like, well, this is way out of Jerry's comfort zone. What's he going to do? And you listen closely, you can hear him just kind of very lightly in the background. He'll just start playing a couple jazz chords, and that's it.
For comping,
like he totally knows what the fucking time is and what he's doing. And then when it's time for him to step up, when he senses the fact that like, all right, these dudes, this groove is falling apart, and they're all kind of going into space. That's his time to shine. He just jumps in. And dude, I can't get enough of it. The one song is
that's awesome.
I had it on when we first jumped on. It's called Oh, the Keystone Corner Jam is really like the mind blower for me. That's the one where they go into the double time swing. It's just like, what?
That album's
Outrageous.
pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Just kind of a mainstream-ish thing that's on my top 20, like right up here in the top here. I don't know if you're aware that Thelonious Monk released an album in 2020.
I was
live
not.
album.
I was
I
not.
did not hear
So
about
there
that.
was a recording that was unearthed about a year ago, where I guess, does it have the year on it when this was recorded? Let's go to the album and find out. It's the beauty of Spotify. I mean, come on.
Love that.
It doesn't really give you the year, but it's back then. It's very old. Monk and his band played at a high school for an assembly.
I do remember seeing
a high school
about
assembly
this.
in a
Right.
cafeteria, and they showed up to play, and the custodian thought, this should probably be recorded. So he just like threw an old-timey classroom tape recorder on the stage and hit record. And it came out beautifully, and they just unearthed the tapes, and they gave the tapes the digital 2020 doctor treatment, and it sounds insane. He rocks
That's amazing.
Ruby My Dear. He's hitting Blue Monk. He's hitting Epistrophe. Dude, it is bananas.
I gotta
It's
check that out.
bananas. How good that is. There's Pearl Jam Gigaton.
I got two more
the-
for you. Real quick
Go ahead.
before you read them
I got
off.
one
I
for
got
you,
two
too.
more for you.
Go ahead.
Is dinner party or dessert on that list?
Fucking Dinner Party. I forgot about that one. It's not. but I will say, number like
Will you
3
say
on
this?
mine. I will say this: that number 3 on mine is well, not really, sort of, is the Jazz is Dead stuff that they like, the Roy Ayers version of not that Jazz is Dead. There's
I
another
know.
thing happening.
Yeah.
With Adrian Young and Ali Shaheed Muhammad, and they did it with
You play that for me.
Roy Ayers, and it's stupid. I
Crazy.
completely forgot about the dinner party stuff. I don't know how I forgot about that. Yeah, I could. My list could be top 40. You've named 2 of them already that should be on my list. I forgot.
I'm glad though. I'm glad that, because I said to these guys when you stepped away, I was like, I have a couple albums now. I said now that I'm looking at my shit, I said I have a couple albums here, and I'm curious if they're on his list.
Man,
So I'm glad that I'm glad I spouted off a couple where you were like,
you got me on
fuck, I
those.
forgot about that one.
Yeah, you got me on those.
I don't think this made any of your lists, but I'm just curious if this artist has come by any of you. Noah Guthrie? Anyone? Noah Guthrie? Come across?
You got me there, Richard.
They've been out with like people like Modest Mouse and Black Keys. They've been touring with those kind of people.
All right.
Didn't know. Just checking.
No, you got me there. You got
All right.
me there. The Joshua Redman album made my list. Rob Forzik.
Who's
You
Still
know what?
the same
I
band?
forgot about that one. That was a very good album.
Richard,
Brian-
it's the classic.
Brian
it's
Blade?
the
Those
classic.
guys?
Brian Blade, Christian McBride,
Yeah.
and Brad Meldau.
Oh,
A monster album. That made my list.
Remember they did the
Rob.
live. Remember they did the
Yeah.
live thing, and I watched it, and you didn't connect that day, and then that
I
album
didn't.
came out like not too long after
Yeah.
that.
you know, talk about drummers that I know we're trying to wrap this up, but talk about drummers that don't get enough credit. Brian Blade does not make any
There's 2 of them.
lists, and nobody plays like
Who
Brian
else?
Blade.
Brian Blade and
Agree.
who else, Richard? In that same vein.
Well, I would
Who
say
could be
Quest
his
doesn't make
twin?
enough lists either, but
No, of course, but no.
Quest never makes a list.
who's
Jeff
your
Tain
second?
Watts.
Who? Oh, Jeff Teen Watts. Oh, God, yeah. Jeff Teen Watts
Those
never
two-
makes a
Those 2
list
go
and
hand in
deserves
hand for me.
every minute.
No one
Yeah.
knows who they are.
Those two could,
No one knows who they are.
yep, they couldn't get arrested in America for that, but
You're
they're
correct.
both amazing.
Rob,
Does
that one I
Quest go
sent
down?
you.
Dude, does Quest go down as like, now that we're sitting here and this is the last time we're going to get together and talk before the end of the year, and like, does Quest go down as like the god of 2020?
So I would, but
Not Anthony Fauci?
no, I would, but I gotta give it to and he would say the same thing, I'm sure. I gotta give it to D Nice, DJ D Nice, because DJ D Nice started Club Quarantine back in like March and showed all these DJs like, hey, here's how you set your gear up and you can DJ live on Instagram. And they all took the ball and ran with it. And then Quest figured that shit out and became my everyday, every night. Like my wife was saying the other night, I was watching, he was on the other night, and she was like, years from now, when you see him DJ, is it going to remind you of quarantine? Because you've basically watched it every night for 9 months. Like, yeah, it probably
see why I wouldn't.
It probably will. But D Nice started it with Club Quarantine and showed everybody like, hey, you can do this. Look at this. And he was getting millions. Like Michelle Obama was popping in on his live. He became the guy. And then all these DJs figured out like, oh shit, all you need is this one particular chord. And then of course, Instagram started their shenanigans with the copyright shit. And that all was a whole thing. And they've been battling that ever since, which is why I stopped doing it, because you get 15 minutes in and they shut you down. And if they shut you down enough times, they suspend your account. So it's just like, ugh.
Look what you should guys see what I just tagged to your phones. I saw one of the best interviews of 2020. I mean, literally, look down at your phone. I just linked you a phone.
It just came across my screen.
Yep. Saw that?
I say it.
Tom Talks is Tom Segura. You know, if everybody knows comedian Tom Segura from Your Mom's House podcast or Two Bears, One Cave.
Premier.
Yep. DJ Premier.
I'll watch that.
First of all, I've never seen an interview with the man. Obviously, I've heard all of his music. I've never heard a single interview with him.
You haven't heard all his music. You've heard a few.
No, I've not heard all his music, but I mean, you know what I mean. I've heard enough. I know who he is, and I've heard a lot of his music. You definitely haven't heard it all. You're 100% right.
Who he is?
No, right. I didn't until I heard this interview. This person is a genius. And not that I didn't think he was a genius before, but I mean, he's a genius on a level I did not understand. Did not realize how good of a musician he was. Did not realize the vast knowledge of music that he is into. Did not one of the best interviews of 2020. Literally one of the best interviews of 2020.
I will definitely check that out. And I will, as we're rapid fire throwing shit out here, I will throw out what I sent this to Rob last night. Rob, how good was that, by the way? There's a show on Netflix.
That show on Netflix, it was great, dude.
There's a show on Netflix called.
I go back and watch some of the other ones, but that one was awesome.
Yeah, there's a show on Netflix that was sent to me last night by a friend. It was a podcast, and it's turned into a Netflix show called Sound Exploder, I think, or Music Exploder, or something like that. Sound Exploder.
I think it was Sound Exploder.
Sound Exploder. And the premise is there's a gentleman that interviews a musician about one particular song, and they do a deep dive on the particular song, and they talk about the lyrics. Obviously, they talk about the production value. They talk about the instrumental, whatever, the engineering. They talk about it all, production, you name it. It's all talked about in super Richard nerd style detail.
Long form of what makes a song great. Really long form.
It's 30 minutes, and it's kind of the same thing, but you have the guy that recorded it sitting in front of you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So he's interviewing so last night I watched two last night.
The one that he sent me, Richard, was it really kind of tugged on me when I went back and watched it, because that I don't know if you sent it to me because you know how much that song gets in my head.
Of course, it was.
Yeah, that song gets in my head a lot. I actually play it. I play it on the guitar all the time. I played it on a couple of lives.
Dude, I did. I'll tell you,
Hurt by 9 Inch Nails. And,
I tell you, man, it
was really good, man. And dude, listen to him talk about how he wishes he could have Trent basically says he's I wish I could have gotten that Bowie vocal that I wanted on that song. And thinking about it, it's a no-brainer, dude.
And then 30 seconds later, they show the footage of Bowie
when he had Bowie sing it. Now I remember
on stage
that.
singing it.
I remember when
I didn't know that happened.
I do remember seeing that on MTV or whatever, when it did happen. But for him to say that that's what he was really shooting for when he recorded, he wishes he could have gotten that vocal.
Well, and he says that because the dude plays for him. He's like, let me play you the vocal isolated.
Mm-hmm.
And he plays Trent Reznor a couple bars of the vocal isolated.
Yep.
And the camera's right in Trent's face, and you're watching all the emotion. You're watching Trent Reznor try to be cool, and you're like, oh my God, this is actually like ripping him apart right now. This is crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. And they stopped the recording, and the guy says to Trent Reznor, he goes, so what are you thinking about what you're hearing? What are you feeling? And he goes, oof, well,
I feel like that's like take 30. I think
he's like there's a lot of singing off key.
Yeah, he's like, I'm like completely pissed at this point. I feel
he's like yeah, it would have been a million takes. I'm singing off key, and he's like, and I decided to whisper because when I was actually singing it wasn't coming out right. So I decided to whisper the lyrics, and it's still not coming out right.
It's still not coming out.
But I got to the point where I didn't care. It is so good, and dude, Richard, they break it down like that. The guy pulls out. He's like, "What are these noises, by the way?" And it's like weird ambient, like air conditioner noises. It's like,
I need this link.
Well, those noises are through that entire album.
It is, and it's also. Well, I'll get to that. So Trent describes what they are, and I'm not even going to begin to tell you because I don't understand. But you'll hear it and go, "Oh, that's what that is."
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys are aware that Trent and his partner now, Atticus Ross. You aware of this guy?
Yep.
The two of them have been doing movie and TV scores recently, and they did one for a show called, I think it's called Westworld on HBO.
So good.
And they did, the two of them.
Dude, I saw him right when he went into all that, if you remember.
That makes sense that's Trent Reznor.
He backed off for quite a number of years. I went and saw him 9 Inch Nails open for the original Jane's Addiction reunion tour.
I remember that.
That was back in like, I don't even remember, dude.
4 or 5 years ago.
No, it was before my son was born.
Oh geez. Well, I mean, I'm close. He's 8, so
yeah. But those shows were his last shows because that's what he was going in. He was getting into all that, and he wanted to
the two of those dudes did a version of Bowie's Life
9
on
Inch
Mars,
Nails and like the whole thing.
Wow.
That just is absolutely mind blowing, and those weird ambient noises float through a lot of that stuff, a lot of the Atticus Ross stuff too. And I know as we're wrapping up, I'm rapid fire throwing shit at everybody there. And we brought up Questlove, so here's the Questlove, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross wrap up, tie it up in a bow. There's a movie coming out on Netflix on Christmas Day, which will be, a week from today or a week from tomorrow, whatever, called Soul, and it's a Pixar movie. And Questlove is in the movie, and Felicia Rashad is in the movie, and it is scored. The movie is scored by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. And the premise of the movie is a music teacher who was a jazz musician but became a music teacher, but always wanted to be a jazz musician. And it's all done in like Pixar cartoons. I'm only piecing this together from the context clues that Quest has been kind of very
It's going to be on Disney Plus.
It's coming out on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And I'll be there. I'll be there on Christmas Day. I'll be front and center.
I'll check it out.
Not wait.
I got
to watch that shit on Christmas Day. Cannot wait.
All right, I got one last tiny one to plug then. Just to tie up Van Halen, right? So we talked about Van Halen and how amazing it is.
Sure.
Everyone, if you want to check out a cool thing about Van Halen, look up Sunset Sound Recorders. They did a thing where they broke down like it's the guys from the studio where they went to, and they opened up the Van Halen archives and the tapes. They actually showed Alex Van Halen's drum, because they recorded that entire album completely live. The only punch-ins were the backing vocals, and maybe one song might be the solo, or one song might be a couple rhythm guitar parts, but generally it's 100% live album, including David Lee Roth's vocals.
Which album are you talking about?
Van Halen 1.
Oh,
right?
The first album. Okay.
And even that, to show you, they pull up Eruption, which is the guitar solo, in Alex Van Halen's overhead drum mics. So you get to hear Eruption just like in the room mics of the studio.
Oh, wow.
What it sounded like, just hearing Eddie just rip it. There's that little break. And in that, the only thing they took out of the entire thing that they processed was a squeal from Eddie's guitar that they took out. That's it. And then they go right into Running with the Devil. Like that wasn't a studio trick. Like that's the solo into the song is exactly how it was done.
All right, here you go.
It's really live. It's amazing.
Here's how we're gonna end this. You ready?
Go ahead, Rob.
Everyone name their favorite Van Halen album of all time. Women and Children first. Go ahead, Richard.
I think until just recently, I would have said Women and Children first, but I'm such on a Van Halen 1 kick. Van Halen 1.
Okay. They are.
I'm gonna go Diver Down.
I knew that's where you were going. That's your favorite forever, you son
It's
of
a good
bitch.
record, man. Nothing wrong with it. It's a great record. Ryan, do you know the Van Halen?
I have to admit that I don't know much about Van Halen.
Just say 1984 and just be confident about it. Or 1984.
You have to know that
It's
album.
called 1984. Yeah, just be confident about it.
Yeah, I just didn't know that.
Panama.
I know 3 songs on that album.
You know
Jump?
every song
That's the
on that
one.
album.
That's the
Teacher?
one. Hot
You
for
know all the
Teacher. Oh
songs.
my
You
god.
don't realize.
Hot for Teacher?
100%.
Every song on that album's a monster.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
I'm going with that one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Can't go wrong with 5150 either.
No.
Yeah.
All right, boys.
Or OU812.
Rob,
or
did you answer?
Far
Or
on
no,
Island.
you said
I
your-
said
That's my favorite
Women and
Hagar.
Children first.
Women and Children first.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
What was funny to me was I didn't know that was a Van Halen album, so you were like Women and Children first. Richard,
Oh, that's
please
funny.
go.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, that's great.
So I was like,
And on
oh.
that note,
Oh, I love ending the
Podcast is over
podcast
for
on a
the year.
hop.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas.
Oh
That's
gosh.
tremendous.
Oh, that's great.
That's tremendous. Yeah, I guess that's it, and that's all. We'll put a
You got to end on that.
in there. You can drop the mic. You gotta. So I
You
guess
can
we'll,
dot in the I and cross the T right there.
that's it. I guess we'll put a fork in it on the disaster that was 2020, which we did the best we could for as long as we could. And then, life caught up and we took yet another one of our many breaks. But we got it together. We got it together right at the last minute. We threw a Hail Mary. Egan's been up my ass for a couple months saying, we got to do it. We got to do it. We got to do it. And here we are. So we made it work. I'm glad we got together to talk a little shit right here.
Next time we get together, we're going to have a new president. Thank God.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Or there'll be a civil war.
That's true.
That
Too.
could happen,
bullets.
too.
I would love to put out into the universe because, being hippies and all, we like to manifest shit. So you figure you put it out into the universe, especially with what the 21st happening, which the back of my house faced west. So I've spent the past 6 months watching Jupiter and Saturn go like this, just keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. And they're like behind my house and they're like this far apart. And they're going to be this far apart in a couple days. And you're supposed to be able to say shit and manifest shit when Jupiter and Saturn are in alignment with the fucking Earth and the whole thing. So, with all that being said, I would love to do a live podcast in 2020.
Oh, in person?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to happen.
And my wife even gave me the
old green light?
We got the room here happening. She's like, this is going to be the new spot for the podcast. I was like, well, if we could ever do that again, it would be fucking great. Because everybody can come in and out the back door. We have to do any nonsense.
It took us a year.
Anytime, man.
It took us a year, but we all got the invite.
Tonight.
Listen, we moved in here and the pandemic hit 10 minutes later, and there's been like no one seen, like my family. Basically, no one has seen this house.
Yeah. But then you also admitted on the podcast that we weren't invited.
I was joking.
He did. He did admit that. I would have came there tonight. All you had to do was ask me.
Nah, well, we're not there yet. We're not there yet over here. We're not there yet over here.
All right.
That makes a lot of sense.
I got him good last week, Egan. He kept hitting me with the ghost shit, and I'm like, have you invited or like reached out to me at all? Like, I don't feel like you have. I said, every time we've talked, I reach to you.
I can't believe how much that gets under your skin. You've referenced it twice today.
It bothers them. But I mean, we don't correspond as much as we used to. I mean, there were times when I was working at the store that Rob Forzik would call me at 8:30 every morning on the freaking dot.
Yeah.
Without fail. And that went on for years and years and years.
I told you that when we were together last week. I told you why I don't call you that much anymore because
I don't answer the phone.
I know that I have too much nonsense going on that you can't even fathom to wrap your head around, because you'd be like, dude, I'm done. I
don't know how.
I wouldn't even want to deal with any of that.
No,
I would tell
I
people
got no
to
time.
F
I told you.
themselves.
We had this conversation about the homeschooling. If I had to deal with the homeschool, my kids would be rogue, son. They'd be learning. It would be life skills on the streets. They'd be figuring shit out. I wouldn't be doing any of this shit.
I said that to somebody. You must really love these kids. This must be something.
Yeah.
Must be something. They must have quite a hold on you.
Right.
I'd be like, y'all are on your own.
Like, I love my dog, but
here's a YouTube video on how to do that new math. Get moving. But yeah,
after yesterday's nonsense, there's no way I'm doing that anytime soon.
I hear you. But yeah,
I'm gonna have people sleeping on top of me for like the next couple.
So we got Jupiter and Saturn. We got the winter solstice. We got the pagan.
22nd.
Is it the 22nd? Usually the 21st. It might be the 22nd this year because
21st or
everything's fucking
22nd.
strange.
I don't know.
We've got the pagan holidays coming up, which will be great. People honor the.
When are people going to actually
baby
hear this?
Jesus Christ?
And I have an announcement to make. If someone's going to hear this within the next, say,
I will.
when are
5
we?
days.
Well,
I'll give it to you whenever you want.
Well, I was. So because we're doing this on Zoom and it's on my Zoom account, and we don't have anything to drop in or any nonsense, I was going to just put it out by the weekend. I wasn't even going to give it to Richard.
Oh, you're going to put it? Well, I thought you were just going to put this up on the YouTube channel.
Drop it on the YouTube.
This is going to go up on YouTube, and if you want to fuck around with the audio, but I mean,
I'll fuck with the audio. We'll do both.
So I'm gonna do something probably either on the 23rd.
Oh, okay, yeah, I do know.
Or on the eve. I haven't quite figured it out. I will throw it to the very busy group and on our social forums whenever I figure out the date. But it's either going to be the 23rd or the 24th. I think I'm going to get on and do a live. I think I'm going to do a long live too. I was thinking, I was coming up with an idea of maybe like doing. I went back and I pulled everything that I did during quarantine, like when I was doing all the Saturday night stuff.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about just taking every set list and incorporating them all into one situation and maybe just playing for like 2.5, 3 hours.
All right.
Wow.
Nice. And just having fun with it.
Got the stamina of Springsteen.
I was thinking about it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I won't, but something's going to get announced at some point next week. I'm going to do something.
Maybe if I'm not lazy, I'll DJ afterwards.
There you go.
And
that would be awesome.
Wait for Instagram to throw me off.
If it's the 23rd, I'm going to be eating oysters. I've already booked them.
Nice.
3 dozen oysters.
I was thinking the 23rd, Egan, because I think a lot of people probably aren't working Christmas Eve, but I don't know.
Christmas Eve is the 24th.
Yeah,
but I was thinking the 23rd would be a good day because the 24th, then people get tangled up and they got a lot going on at night. And
there's a lot happening at night. You're right.
23rd the move.
I was thinking the 23rd, but then I was.
You don't have to sit. You don't have to be. You give your rapt attention. You just throw it on in the background and let it ride.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was thinking the 23rd.
Yeah.
I'd like to snort some coke and do an up all night show on the page.
Richard will be having a lot of fun while I'm out.
All right.
I'm doing this on the 23rd.
Well, I guess that's it, and that's all. We've done it, and we've said it.
On that note,
I love and miss you all.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
True story.
Women and
Richard,
children
I love
first.
you, and I miss you. It was nice talking to you,
you guys.
a couple weekends ago through the.
And I guess
text message.
I guess we'll try to reconvene when the calendars flip, and hopefully, who knows? We could do this. This is easy enough, or we'll see if we can do a live situation. We can do it here. So I guess everybody.
I am ready to come see that house whenever you want me to come over.
You're not going to believe what I'm working with over here. So I guess we'll see y'all when we see you.
See you.
That's it. That's all.
Sounds good.
Adios.
Happy New Year's, everybody. Peace.
Put my dick in the mashed potatoes.